The ongoing quest for quality education surges on. Our learners and stakeholders look up to the Department of Education as a beacon of light, guiding each and everyone towards the path of continuity of learning. With this as the reality of our educational scenario, we draw our inspiration from every hopeful Santiagueño learner. Hence, we continue to hold high the torch of education and ensure that as the battle against COVID-19 rages on, we never stop meeting together to plan the best possible ways and means in pursuit of uninterrupted and quality education for all. To our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Cherry S. Ramos, our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Jonathan A. Fronda, our Chief Supervisors in CID and SJOD, Dr. Janet Val Bautista, and Dr. Sherlene R. Macaspak, our EPSS, our unit and section heads, fellow public servants, blessed day and welcome to our MMK Magulang Mag-aaral Kapartner version 3.0. At this juncture, let us all stand for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem to be followed by an opening prayer and the recitation of the vision, mission, and quality policy of the Department of Education, Region 2.
Bayang magiliw sa silanganan, alam ng puso sa likod mo'y buhay. Lupang linirang tuwing ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig di ka masisingin. Sa lagat at puno sa simula, sa langit bumagaw, may nilagang tula at awit sa panglayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng ating pagsinta, may langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya dapat may mga apik, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
At this juncture, our hardworking and amiable OIC Chief Supervisor in the School's Governance and Operations Division will now deliver her welcome address.
Marfil, our competent master of ceremony of today's activity, to the transformational and servant leaders of SDO Santiago City, headed by our Schools Division Superintendent Dr. Cherry S. Ramos, our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent Dr. Jonathan A. Pronda, our Administrative Officer 5, Sir Matt B. Angeles, our CID Chief, Dr. Janet B. Bautista, our Education Program Supervisors, our school heads, unit heads, teachers, learners, and stakeholders, a blessed day. I am privileged to virtually welcome our participants and guests in this opportune and meaningful activity, MMK, Magulang, Mag-aaral at kapartner sa bagong normal sa edukasyon. Your attendance and involvement affirm your commitment to embrace our responsibility to shield one another under the difficult circumstance. This virtual endeavor is indeed sensible and beneficial for education has changed significantly with a distinctive upswing of various platforms where teaching and learning is undertaken. Through this activity, we can empower the MMK, Magulang, Mag-aaral, at kapartner to handle their imbalances not only in academic but also in the physical and socio-emotional needs brought about by pandemic. And we are so fortunate to have with us resource speakers who are well equipped with knowledge and expertise that could help and provide essential details on sustainability, financial stability, partnership, and mental health. Allow me also to take this opportunity to acknowledge the steadfast and innovative efforts of Mr. Arcadio L. Madumo, our DRRM coordinator and the innovator or facilitator of this activity, with the guidance and leadership of our SDS Ma'am Cherry and ASDS Sir Jonathan. Once again, welcome dear participants and guests of this virtual activity. Continue to remain flexible, patient, and empathic as we move forward and sustain the culture of excellence. God bless us all.
Thank you, Ma'am Charlene, for that warm message of welcome. At this juncture, let us greet our participants. Ma'am Amelia Bergonia from San Andres Elementary School. We have also Ma'am Josephine Antonio from Kabulay High School. Ma'am Diana April Dumag, watching from Patol Elementary School. We understand that some areas po ng Santiago City ay experiencing brownout po. But anyways, this orientation po ay recorded so we can view and still watch the recorded version po on our official YouTube channel. We also have Ma'am Rona Macadenden from Rosario National High School, our DRRM coordinator. Sir Larry Poon of Sinsayon Elementary School. Sorry po kanina for the sound. Meron pong technical problem. Ma'am Imelda Castañon of Rosario Elementary School. We have a learner. from elementary, Kabulay Elementary School. Of course, we also have, ayan, we have a learner again, Ma'am Rosalie D. Esteban, our school head from Luna Elementary School. Ma'am Maribel Chavez, Ma'am Michelle Ichure, Ma'am Simeona Daloran ng West Central School. Good morning po to one and all. At this juncture, the leader who exudes inspiration and commitment to uphold continuity of quality education, the mother and pilot of educational goals and objectives of SEO Santiago City, let us welcome with resounding virtual applause our school's division superintendent, Dr. Cherry Salarzon Ramos. Hi ma'am, good morning po.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Marfiel, for that. I'm here with you today, continually supporting the Tinig ng Bayanihan, of which, an offshoot of which is the MMK. Napakagandang alalahanin na tayo ay more than 1 year na nakikipag-ugnayan externally to our dear learners, our dear parents, our dear school heads, na nagtatagumpay naman at nare-reach natin silang lahat. For this reason, I say my warmest good morning or pleasant morning to one and all. The voice of Bayanihan will continue to foster in SDO Santiago City. I know for sure that the team of Ma'am Sherlyn under SGOD with Sir Joss as the focal and the host always, Marfiel, and all those who are concerned in sustaining this program. I would like to congratulate you and encourage you more to continue going an extra mile. Going an extra mile will not impede us to think more over other things for the benefit of our school children, and especially knowing that we have there the watchers of our participation in these times of pandemic. Our participation, I would say, using this platform, the Tinig ng Bayanihan, MMK as a program, is now reaching thousands of our stakeholders, education stakeholders, and that would only manifest that we are giving some sort of inspiration and influence to each of the listeners of this program. That I would say in this time, we are uh, acknowledging threat in a positive way. What is threat when it comes to this platform? Threat is not about the negative connotation of harm, of danger, but it is all about thriving. How do we thrive more? How do we make things possible now in our learning communities and especially our home learning? That we say with your package of topics today. I have seen the list on financial matters. We have here our guest, external guest. We have here our DRRM coordinator of Quirino, and at the same time our SMAN of SD of Quirino that would tackle more than how do we make ourselves safe in these times. And this will be the package of how we need to thrive in this new normal, in this new setup of education. I have read about saying that when we thrive, we don't make use of the very alarming word unprecedented times, because it is very horrible to spell and uh, speak out of this. That I also known have known that there must be a statement of Stephen King like, so that we can try more. Because knowing Stephen King, it would be a multiple of stories that can walk us through to success, to some of the strategies that would also address concerns as we experience them now. So it's much so that we thrive like Stephen King. And another is we harness when we say harness in the teaching learning process, we harness competencies, skills, like but in this platform we are using now, having these heavy topics on financial management, on TRRM, and the like, will be harnessing our lifelong skills, matters of um, different literacy that would counter our fear, that would lessen our threat of not being successful in these times. We harness these thoughts that we have so that we can at least maneuver away and seeing the right perspective in between. That is harnessing how we look on things. And eventually, we are armed with many values now. We are always highlighting the value of resiliency, the value of flexibility and adaptability, that we don't want to delete that in our talk, especially when we are reaching you. Kung kami ay nakikipag-ugnayan sa maramihan, palagi naming sinasabi, we need to highlight the value of resiliency, the value of flexibility and adaptability. Meaning to say, we know that you are doing this. We appreciate much your participation in all this endeavor. That will mean to say that you are ready to open up that resiliency in you, that flexibility in you, that adaptability in you, because that would be the start of another harnessing, another thriving on our part. This, I say, it's very effective to be armored with this resiliency values that we have. And of course, more than these values, that would be having, we know that we already train ourselves to find blessing in everything. And if we will do this today, we'll again see some of these blessings, embrace these blessings coming from our speakers. I know that these topics that we have now can help you adjust yourself in this new normal. I said it's a new normal because there are always changes in between works. There are no stability still as to workload, as to our partnership. But then it would be a training for us to be adaptive in every change that we are in. And so, as mentioned by our chief a while back, we sense empathy. When we sense empathy, ladies and gentlemen, we see ourselves and others. We see ourselves experiencing the experiences of others. While we see them, we look into them closer. As we look into them closer, putting ourselves on them, we are also giving them encouragement, inspiration, and influence. That in their situation now, in our situation now, there will always be yung sinasabi nating silver lining. And it's very important to see that silver lining. No? So, well, with this, the hope that we can share to you now may be beneficial to your own situation. Okay. And eventually, we are trying to connect with you. We are trying to alleviate something from you. Okay, we are trying to search from you and be connected and engaged so that you will somehow feel that we are here for you, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga learners na nandirito ngayon nakikinig. We're here for you, is standing still firmly for you, because we know for sure you can thrive in your own place even you are at home. So we place our shoes in you. We know that the strategies may be limited, but then we can gain fruitful output or results later as you engage and connect with us. And eventually, I would like to recognize the power tandem of this program, MMK. Since I have witnessed this to grow, the Tinig ng Bayanihan, and the offshoot of this, the MMK, we have different projects actually under Tinig ng Bayanihan, of which one of those fruitful projects we have under Tinig ng Bayanihan is MMK. And I've seen how you invite guests that could really address some needs of the whole community. You did not confine yourself with our own internal stakeholders, but you expanded your project in a way that we are now accommodating the concerns and issues of the whole community, especially concerns on education. And like now, we are touching another menu of concern, list of concern from our stakeholders in the whole community of Santiago City. That's why I say it's a power tandem of the Department of Education. Thank you very much, SD Okirino under Ma'am Floor, for giving us your experts so that they can talk about how we deal with these present situations that we have now. And of course, our external partner. I have seen one from Nissan Philippines, that we would say thank you for your precious time giving to SDO Santiago City. Our gratitude would be so simple to express, but then it is full of love. Sharing this threat, converting this threat into a positive meaning of thriving, harnessing values of resiliency, empathy, elevating lives, and of course, the powerful tandem of the internal and external partners. So with this, I say, mabuhay po tayong lahat. Isa pong mahalagang pagsasama ulito, a convergence with all of you. And I know that you will get maybe 50% or 80% of where they will be talking be beneficial to all of you. So I say good morning once again. Have a safe Friday day to everyone.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Cherry, for guiding us and inspiring us to take extra mile in our service provision. Thank you very much po, Ma'am.
Thank you too.
Thank you, Ma'am. At this juncture, may I call on the DRRM focal person of SDO Santiago City for the statement of purpose of this program and to introduce to us our first speaker. Let us all welcome Sir Josh Mudumo.
Eh, Good morning, Sir Marfil.
Good morning, Sir Josh.
Umuwi ako ng
Nasa
bahay.
bahay ka.
Oo.
Walang net ata sa SDO.
Hindi kinaya ng connection yung ating MMK today. But anyways, it's a good thing po na meron pong ilaw dito sa bahay. So, ayan. Anyways, good morning po to each and everyone, especially, of course, to our SDS, Madam Cherry Ramos, and to our ASDS, Sir Jonathan Fronda. And, of course, good morning to our um, speakers for today's MMK 4.0, to Cesar, my former student, to Ma'am Tin of SDO Quirino, and to Sir Harris. Now, to explain to you po the purpose of this convergence, of course, alam naman po natin na nandito po tayo sa panahon ng pandemic ngayon and would like the SDO office, SDO Santiago City po na makapagbigay po ng assistance po sa ating pong mga DepEd personnel, sa ating pong mga learners, sa ating pong mga parents, and other external stakeholders po. So for today's MMK 4.0 po, tatlo po yung topics na ready po namin for all of you. One, of course, will be all about financial management. So, alam po natin na economically, lahat po tayo dito ay apektado because of this COVID-19 pandemic. So, our resource speaker will talk about financial management and how to sustain po our financial stability amid this COVID-19 pandemic. Our next topic po will be all about sustainability po of our partnership engagements po. So, gusto po natin na makapagbigay po ng tulong sa atin pong mga school heads, school Brigada Eskwela coordinators on how to sustain po our partnerships po with our barangay, with the NGAs, with the NGOs, and other private stakeholders po. So, and our last topic po will all be about mental health and psychosocial support services po. Okay, so gusto po natin na of course, sa panahon po ngayon, sabi nga po palagi nila na parang emotionally po, down na po tayo, psychologically po, affected na po tayo because of this pandemic. And of course, we would like to help po each and everyone na makapag-adjust po tayo at makapagbigay po tayo ng assistance po to each and everyone po para sa ganun po is makuha po ulit natin yung balance po natin despite po na meron po tayong COVID-19 pandemic. So, of course, we would like to invite po our DRM coordinators, school heads po to share this MMK 4.0 po to all our external and internal stakeholders po. Kasi po nag-ready po talaga ang SDO Santiago at nag-ready din po ang ating mga resource speakers para makapagbigay po ng magandang input po sa ating lahat at makatulong po sa ating pang-araw-araw. Okay, so once again, good morning po to each and everyone. Sir Marfil?
Thank you very much, Sir Josh. At this juncture po, we will start right away with our first speaker since you are there na, Sir Josh.
Yes.
And I know that Sir Josh know him very well because he used to be his students in the high school ba? Tama ako, Sir Josh?
Yes, high
So
school.
we are truly blessed to have an external partner po ng SDO Santiago City to be discussing with us today financial. Tama po ba ako, Sir Josh?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So without further ado, again, let's welcome Sir Josh Maduma for the introduction of our first speaker.
Yes, of course. Once again, good morning po. So I have the honor po to present to you our first resource speaker po for today's program. Siya po ay product ng Santiago North Central School. Okay, so nag-graduate po siya sa Santiago North Central School noong 2007 as second honorable mention. And siya din po ay kinilala bilang Journalist of the Year. And of course, a national qualifier po of the NSPC in the year 2007. Noong high school po, siya po ay nagtapos bilang valedictorian sa Infant Jesus Montessori School. And after high school, nag-aral po siya sa University of La Salette at nakakuha po siya ng Outstanding Leadership Performance. Okay, so currently po, siya po ay employed sa Nissan Philippines. Pero bago po sa Nissan Philippines, siya din po ay naging bahagi ng Sun Life Philippines as financial advisor. And siya din po ay Senior Associate Costing Analyst po ng Nissan Philippines. And then Senior Associate Cost and Fixed Asset din po ng Nissan Philippines Incorporated. And then an Associate Accounts Payable of Nissan Philippines. Siya po ay may expertise po sa accounting, commercial finance, budgeting, forecasting, analysis, reporting, audit, and internal control. He is a certified public accountant, and I would definitely say na itong bata po na ito, nung siya po ay nag-aaral po sa high school, ay very humble and very intelligent. Please help me welcome, of course, the pride po of Santiago City, Mr. Cesar G. Felipe. Cesar, good morning.
Hello, sir. Good morning everyone. And magandang umaga sa lahat ng nanonood ngayong araw. Very ano naman, no, Sir Josh, overwhelmed naman ako dun sa, sa introduction. Hindi ko naman yun in-expect.
Yes.
Ayan. Okay, so as mentioned, I will be discussing today yung financial stability or yung financial, how would you handle your financial, personal finance in these times of uncertainties, no? Especially now na nasa pandemic stage tayo. So, I'm just gonna share my screen and please let me know if you could see my screen now. Ayan. Okay na?
Go ahead, sir. Pwede na po.
Ayan. Okay, so I will be discussing personal financial management in the new normal. No? So, ayun, nasabi na ni Sir Josh. So, I'm Cesar Felipe, a certified public accountant. I passed the board last October 2016. Nag-graduate din ako noong 2016 sa University of La Salle. So, yeah, elementary sa Santiago North Central School. Kaya naman medyo din, no, familiar din ako with, I think yung mga teachers ko before is andito pa din. So, shout out. Hello sa inyong lahat. High school, yun, I graduated sa Infantiosus Montessori School and si Sir Josh, siya yung advisor ko when I was in fourth year. No? So, malaki talaga yung kasi, itinulong niya sa akin. Hindi ko naman ma-achieve yung pagiging valedictorian in high school, no, kundi din dahil kay Sir Josh. And current work ko nga, I'm a cost specialist sa Nissan Philippines Incorporated sa Bonifacio Global City, Taguig. Kaso ngayon, work from home kami. So, nandito ako ngayon sa Santiago. And why am I invited dito as speaker speaking about financial management? So I'm also a licensed financial advisor sa Sun Life. So most of my clients, I am discussing this kind of financial planning. So I think very relatable naman ako sa topic na binigay sa akin. Okay, so I will just be having this discussion short, no? Kasi alam ko naman na sa virtual napaka-short lang ng attention span natin. I've been there. I know the feeling. Tapos I think yung i-discuss din mamaya ng dalawa pa nating speakers are really interesting. So ayun, tune in lang kayo sa live natin for today. Okay. Looking back, I want you guys to look back. What were your pre-COVID financial goals? Ano yung mga gusto nyong bilhin before COVID? So 'di ba, meron nag-iipon kayo, 'di ba? Meron kayong pinag-iipunan. So I want you guys to look back. Ano yung mga financial goals niyo before? But then the pandemic happened. So hi Ma'am Gina Jane Sanhil. Hi Ma'am Sanhil. Ayan, sinat niya ako. Okay, so pandemic happened. So it hit us in the year 2020, no? It isn't just about health crisis, but it has also had an adverse effect sa ating global economy. Global economy. Pero nafe-feel din naman natin siya locally dito sa Philippines. Maraming mga negosyo yung nag-close, maraming mga empleyado or mga tao ang nawalan ng trabaho. And worst case scenario, kung magpapatuloy pa din yung ganitong situation natin, it would lead us to a negative growth in terms of our global economy. At the same time, nandito din yung si government na nag-impose ng various restrictions to keep yung spreading pa ng virus. So ayan, wear your face mask always. So this is, ladies and gentlemen, the new normal as what they call it. Now, how did this affect your financial goals? Di ba kanina, pinaisip ko kayo, what are your financial goals? So, considering this new normal, how did this affect your financial goals? Did something change from before or pareho lang, walang nagbago? So balik tayo dun sa goal setting. What are your top financial goals now? I want you guys to list it down, no? Kasi mas effective daw na meron tayong list kung ano yung mga gusto nating ma-achieve kasi visible siya, no? So kapag nilist down natin siya, mas madali natin siyang ma-remember. Uy, ito pala yung goals ko. So I want you guys to list down ano yung financial goals nyo ngayon. Kahit top 3 financial goals. When I was asked this, To be honest, yung lista kong financial goals, number one, I want to have my own car. Since Nissan Philippines ako, di ba? Tapos wala akong sasakyan. So, ayun, number one, goal ko talaga yun, magkaroon ng sasakyan. Number two is have my own house and lot, of course, for me, for my family. And number three is, in the future, I want to run my own business. I want to be the owner, or I want to be the boss of myself. So, yun yung top three financial goals ko. So, I also want you guys as well to list down at least your top three financial goals now. Yun, so ano yung mga gusto niyo ma-achieve, ano yung mga gusto niyo mabili. And let's go deeper, no? Why do you want to buy it? Bakit gusto niyo siyang bilhin? When do you expect to have it? And how will you have it? Ano yung mga means para ma-achieve niyo yung financial goals na to? Okay, so of course, it all leads to personal finance. No? What is personal finance? Well, it talks about your personal financial activities. Ano yung mga ginagawa mo personally sa iyong financials? Ano yung activities involved? Ayan. So, as you can see here, sa personal finance, it involves lots of factors. So, first is income. So, income, ano yung mga cash inflows mo? Ano yung mga pumapasok na pera sa'yo? Ano yung income streams mo? Kumikita ka ba? Sumasahod ka ba? Meron ka bang other sources of income such as nag-online live selling ka ba? Meron ka bang commissions? Etc. Pangalawa, spending. So ano naman yung mga pinagagastusan mo ngayon? Ano yung mga yung mga spendings mo or expenses mo? Saving, are you saving enough? Magkano yung sinisave mo every day or every month, every year? Or are you doing, or are you really saving, no? Or ano lang, gastos ka lang ng gastos. So kasama yun sa personal finance. And investing, investing is more on investing in long term, no? So you are expecting, you're setting aside a certain amount of money, pupunta mo sa isang financial instrument, expecting for a income or profit, pero more on a long term. We'll be discussing this more about later. And protection. So dito pumapasok yung life insurance, health insurance, yung estate planning, and everything. So di-discuss natin siya, more of it later. Ayun. So, personal financial management is understanding kung nasan ka ngayon and how would you make the most out of your assets and how would you plan for your future in terms of financial. Parang, okay, meron kang financial assets ngayon. So, pag sinabi nating financial assets, ito yung, yung mga pera mo, readily available check, mga ganun. Sige, layman's perspective kasi cash, okay, cash yung financial assets mo. And most of us naman, di ba, yun yung pinaka-liquid. Ayun, so ano yung financial situation mo ngayon? Ano yung financial assets mo ngayon? And how would it help you plan for your future? So part yun ng personal financial management, which we will be discussing more about later. You should watch what you spend and see what you're able to. So, ibig sabihin, you have to track all your expenses. So, hindi ka lang dapat gastos ng gastos. You have also to watch. Alam mo din dapat na meron kang limitations. Number one, limited yung cash mo. Meron kasi yung mga gustong bumili, bili lang ng bili, no? Kahit wala na silang available cash. Paano? Pwede ba yun? Yes, pwede yun. Doon pumapasok naman yung tinatawag nating utang. So, mas pinipili nilang umutang just to buy whatever they want kahit na wala silang available cash at the moment. So, pangit din yun, no? Kasi hindi mo ma-attain yung financial goals mo if you have that kind of debts na iisipin mo pa. So, parang balakid lang siya sa pag-attain mo ng financial goals mo. Well, it is not naman, no. I don't say na hindi dapat kayo umutang, pero dapat lang din, moderate lang din. Tsaka tama lang din yung timing ng pangungutang nyo. Hindi lang dahil may gusto kang bilhin, utang ka na. So, hindi dapat ganun yung mindset. And save what you're able to. Yeah, save. Yan yung kailangan nating itatak sa mindset natin ngayon. No? And To make the most out of the money at your disposal requires constant awareness and strategic thinking. So, related din siya dun sa number 2. No? So, dapat aware ka sa kung ano yung pumapasok na pera sa'yo, ano yung saan mo kinagastos yung perang pumapasok sa'yo. And of course, dapat meron kang personal plan on how would you spend your finances. Now, ano yung key challenges naman sa new normal in terms of personal finance? Number 1, cash inflow. Well, of course, as mentioned kanina, hindi lang naman health crisis yung yung dinala ng pandemic, but our economy has also been affected. So most of us, not all of us, but most of us, pwedeng nawalan ng trabaho, nabawasan yung kita. So key challenge is yung cash inflow. So paano mo ngayon i-budget kung ano yung current cash na pumapasok sa'yo? Another is yung readily available cash for spending or yung tinatawag nating emergency fund. Do you have emergency fund? Mamaya, i-discuss din natin siya. And financial stability. Okay, meron kang ang available cash ngayon. But for how long? Ano yung time span ng available cash mo ngayon? Baka for ano lang siya, next month wala ka nang ulit cash. Problema mo na naman kung saan ka kukuha. So dapat ayun, so isa din siya sa mga key challenges natin in this new normal. And of course, self-discipline. Well, it all leads to us, to ourselves, na dapat meron tayong discipline sa sarili natin. Kasi kung wala tayong disiplina, yun nga, yung sinabi ko kanina na we are just spending parang one day millionaire, no? So parang meron kang cash na receive and then okay, spend mo siya lahat for just a day. And in the long term, when you are going back, ikaw din at the end of the day, ikaw din yung mag-bear nung losses. Tsaka mahirap din if ever na i-recover pa kung ano yung nawala. So it all leads to ourselves. So we should always have that self-discipline in managing our personal finance. Okay, so let's go now. Sabi niyo, parang medyo mabilis yung facing natin. Pero I'm just discussing yung basics. So I assume na most of you alam na din yung dinidiscuss ko. Pero I want you guys to empty your cups, no? So, yeah, I know, alam niyo na to. Pero refresher din sa mga may alam na. And sa mga hindi pa naman aware sa financial management, I want you guys to learn on what I am discussing today. So, ayun. So, personal finance, financial management in the new normal. So, ito yung mga i-discuss natin with regards to this topic. Number 1 is reviewing our personal budget, preparing yung ating emergency funds, investing, and making a crisis plan. Okay, number 1 is budgeting. Budgeting is the process of creating a plan to spend your money. So, take note, plan. So, ibig sabihin, you are doing something because you are expecting something in the future. So, you are making something now, making something now for future uses. And why is it important? Well, first, it's of course to track your cash inflows and outflows. So, through budgeting, malalaman mo ano yung pumapasok na pera sa'yo at saan mo siya ini-spend. And number 2, control your spendings. So if you know kung ano yung mga lumalabas na pera, san sila ginagamit or saan gumagastos, you have the ability to control yung spendings mo. And of course, to save. So kung ano yung natira, income over expenses, meron kang natira, of course, dapat ipasok mo siya sa savings. Pero kasi guys, merong dalawang klase daw ng Filipinos. So number 1, si Filipino A, siya yung nag-spend muna bago mag-save. So paano 'yon? So meron siyang pumapasok na income monthly. Ngayon, nakalist down lahat ng expenses niya. So income minus expenses is equal to savings. Yun yung parang guide niya sa personal financial management niya. Which is I think most of us ganun naman yung nagiging behavior natin in terms of finance. So, income less expenses, yung excess, yun yung ilalagay natin sa savings. Then meron naman si Filipino B. Siya naman, inuuna yung savings over spendings. So meron siyang income, less savings, yung matitira, yun yung i-allocate niya sa kanyang mga expenses. Which I think and I believe should be our mindset. So dapat meron tayong if we really care about our future, as early as now, we should be able to save, no? So we have to have a wala namang minimum amount of savings, no? The idea is there should be a fixed or allotted amount from our income na napupunta directly sa savings. Then yung excess, it should be allocated na sa kung ano yung mga expenses natin. Kasi doon na din papasok, you could control naman yung expenses mo eh. So, mas maganda na una pa lang, meron ka na agad savings and then saka ka na gumastos. Kesa naman, okay, gastos ka ng gastos. What if wala naman nang matira dun sa income mo and nagkautang ka pa, which is a no-no. No-no in terms of financial management. Okay, I wanna ask you guys, are you doing budgeting na? Do you really know what budgeting is? Hindi ko nakikita, no? Pero you could type yes sa ating live comments, ganyan, kung meron na kayong ginagawang budgeting, no? So how do you do a budget plan? It's simple. List down your cash inflow. So alamin mo, ano yung sources of income mo. So meron ka bang salaries, commissions, bonuses, ayun. Next is list down your cash outflows or yung expenses mo naman. So, i-list down mo muna lahat. Ano yung mga currently pinagagastusan mo, no? Pwede mo siyang gawin siguro daily or monthly, ano yung mga nai-incur mong expenses. And break your expenses into 3. Ito ano lang naman, suggestion, pero it really adds value, no, sa pagbabudget mo if you do this one. So you have to break your expenses into 3. Meron kang needs, yung wants, the savings. Needs, these are your expenses na magsusupport sa living mo. So parang you are spending this one for you to live. Yan, dyan pumapasok yung, of course, food, yung bayad mo sa rent, kung nagre-rent ka, transportation, yung mga ganun, essentials na tinatawag. Yung wants naman, it's more of your personal wants. Yan, so kunwari, you are shopping every month, ganyan. So nag-aalat ka ng budget para doon. Kung gumagala ka din every month, which in this new normal, di ba, madalang na lang naman kasi madaming restrictions. So doon mo siya ipapasok sa wants. And of course, yung savings. As mentioned before, mas okay na yung mindset mo is savings muna bago spending. So you should have a commitment, no? You should already have a committed amount from your income na mapupunta sa savings. And please take note that your expenses should never exceed income. Possible ba yan? Yes, as mentioned, dyan pumapasok yung tinatawag nating debts or yung nangungutang ka kasi wala ka ng pambayad sa gusto mong bilhin. So, mas malaki ang expenses mo compared sa pumapasok na income sa'yo. Okay, so ito, sample personal budget plan of a person earning 30,000 of salaries a month. Yan, sample lang to, no? Hindi naman to yung formal or standard template, pero I'm just showing you kung ano yung pwedeng maging itsura ng budget plan nyo. So number 1, yun nga, ilista mo kung ano yung income mo. So ito siya. So si person na to, nag-earn daw siya ng 30,000. Others, yun nga, kung meron ka pang other source of income. So kunwari, meron kang online selling business, meron kang commissions na natatanggap, you could also add it here, no? And expenses, as mentioned, you should break it into 3, your needs and wants and savings. So, yung needs niya, ayan, insurance, nagbabayad siyang insurance, nagre-renta siya, utilities, yung groceries niya for the month, yung transportation niya. Yung wants, ayan, as mentioned, personal shopping, sa hobbies niya, and meron siyang inaalat na savings and investment na 5,000 fixed a month. Ayan, so kung makikita nyo, yung income niya is 30,000, no? And then yung total expenses niya is 29,700. So meron pa siyang natitirang 300. If I may ask you guys, kung meron kayong natitirang pera, for the month, no? Kunwari nagba-budget kayo, tapos meron kayong natitirang pera for the month, saan nyo siya ina-allocate? Is it maggagastos pa kayo kasi parang, uy, meron pa naman ako natirang pera, pwede ko pa itong igastos dito. Or you put it directly to savings. Ako personally, yun, I put it to savings. No? Kasi yun naman dapat. So may natira ka, i-save mo na lang. Kasi ang implication kasi nito, may natira kang pera kasi hindi mo pa naman siya kailangang gastusin eh. So it will be beneficial for you if you set it aside for future use. So you have to add it to your savings. Okay. So merong various anong tawag dito? May iba't ibang ways on how would you budget, pero merong 50-30-20, 70-20-10. I'm gonna discuss 7-20-10 because this is personally my way kung paano ako nagbabudget. Siyempre, based from experience, I should be talking of my experience. So, 70-20-10, so ibig sabihin, hahatiin ko daw yung income ko into 70%, 20%, and 10%. So sabi ko nga, hindi naman ting standard. You could also use, meron 50-30-20, meron din namang other percentages pa. Or you could also, you could also have your own percentages based on your needs. Wala namang specific requirement no, on how would you divide your income. So for this one, for the 70-20-10 rule, 70% daw is yung needs. 20% yung savings, 10% yung wants. So from yung budget plan na pinakita ko kanina, sample budget plan, so ito lang din siya. Breakdown ko lang din siya dito. So 70% yung needs, ayan, ito yung mga yun. 20% savings. Savings, if you have debts na kailangan bayaran, dito mo siya kukunin. As well as yung emergency fund na we'll talk more about later. And 10% yung wants. Ayan. Okay, so balik tayo dun sa monthly budget na ginawa mo kanina. Itong column na to, itong before. So yung needs, ang sabi natin 70% based dito sa 70-20-10 rule. Pero magkano yung na-compute mong needs mo kanina sa budget mo? It's 19,700. Pero sinasabi ni 70-20-10 rule, 70% dapat is mapunta sa needs. So magkano yung 70% ng monthly income mo na 30,000? It's 21,000 pesos. Ito, 21,000 pesos. Okay, so meron kang difference na, ayan, 21 less 19,700, I think it's 1,300 pesos. So ngayon, hahanapan mo ngayon siya, ano yung babaguhin mo? So for this one, si person na to, yung 1,000, inad niya dito sa groceries. So from 10,000 before na budget niya, since he decided to follow the 70-20-10 rule, he made yung budget niya sa groceries to 11,000 pesos. And yung sa transportation, from 2,200, naging 2,500 na. So in total is 21,000. Kasi alamin mo din pala ano yung mga cost or expenses na controllable mo, no? Kasi kunwari, itong insurance, hindi niya naman mababago na kasi fixed naman yung payment niya dito as well as yung rent. Yung electricity and water, yeah, pwede niya din naman, controllable niya din naman to kasi depende naman sa consumption, no? Pero si person na to, he decided na, yun nga, i-allocate siya sa groceries, nag-add siyang 1,000, and transportation, nag-add siya ng 300 pesos to satisfy yung requirement ng 70-20-10 rule na 70% daw should be allocated sa needs. Okay, now 20% savings. So initially kanina, dun sa pinakita kong budget plan, 5,000 pesos yung fixed monthly savings niya, right? Kaso, meron siyang excess na 300 pesos. So gaya ng sinabi ko, any excess should form part of your savings. So inad niya doon. So 5,000 plus 300 naging 5,300 na yung monthly savings niya. But then, ang sabi ni 70-20 rule, magkano yung 20%? Yung 20% daw should be allocated sa savings. Pero magkano yung 20% ng 30,000? It's 6,000 pesos. So kulang pa din siya ng 700 pesos. Now, saan niya kukunin yun? Dito, sa baba, sa wants. Kasi ang sabi dito, 10% should only be allocated to your wants. So magkano yung 10% ng 300 ng 30,000? It's 3,000 pesos. Kaso, yung earlier budget niya, sobra. So yung personal shopping 2,500, recreation, other hobbies 2,500. So binawasan niya ngayon yung 1,500 and 1,500 to satisfy yung requirement ng 70-20-10 rule. Ayan, so you could do either monthly or, you could do monthly or daily. Depende sa'yo kung saan ka mas comfortable. Pero ako personally, I do monthly budget. Ganito din, hinati ko din yung income ko into needs, wants, and savings. Tapos, yun, ano lang talaga, it's more on your commitment, consistency, and discipline on following yung budget mo, no? Kasi, if you are doing budget, kahit paulit-ulit kang nagbabudget, kung di mo naman siya sinusunod. So, parang nagsasayang ka lang din ng oras and effort sa paggawa. No? Okay, pero hindi naman din natatapos sa pagbabudget lang yung lahat. I want you guys to have this mindset na, okay, meron akong budget, pero hindi doon natatapos yung lahat. Dapat, you also know how to track yung actual spending mo. So, gumawa ka ulit ng ng additional column. Okay. So, ito yung mga expenses ko, ito yung budget ko for the month following 70-20-10 rule. Tapos, ito yung actual na nagastos ko for the month. Tapos alamin mo, ano yung gap, ano yung difference. So, kunwari, as mentioned, yung insurance rent, fixed naman, so wala kang makikitang gap dito. Kunwari itong electricity and water, naging 1,800 na lang yung ginastos ko for this month. So, meron akong 200 pesos na difference. Bakit ka may 200 pesos na difference? Because, siguro, mas mababa yung consumption mo for the month, ganyan. So, for the next month, pwede mong i-reallocate no, yung budget na to sa iba pang bagay na mas kailangan mo. Groceries mo, 11K yung binudget mo pero 9,000 na nagastos mo, nakatipid ka ng 2,000 pesos. So, sa next budgeting plan mo or sa next budget plan mo for the month, pwedeng yung i-budget mo na lang is 9,000. Tapos yung natira is ipunta mo sa, pwede dito, sa savings. And yun. So, ganun siya nangyayari. And as you can see here, your total monthly budget of 30,000, tapos ang nagastos mo lang is around 26,800 for the month. So, meron ka pang excess na 3,200. So, it implies that you have a free cash flow of 3,200 pesos. So, ibig sabihin, meron kang 3,200 na cash na hindi mo pa naman kailangan ngayon. So, I suggest na any excess, dapat i-add mo siya dun sa savings mo. Kasi wala namang din mawawala sa'yo if you would add it to savings kasi it will be used naman in the future. Except when, yun nga, if you opted to put it in additional expenses, so parang, okay, parang nasayang lang din, di ba? Unless very urgent, super kailangan mo din yung paggagastusan mo. Pero kung wala naman, lagyan mo na lang siya dito sa savings. Okay. In relation to budgeting, no, in this new normal, So meron ka ng budget. Kung meron ka ng ginawang budget pre-COVID, okay, so how did the pandemic affect your personal budget? So ngayon, I want you guys to keep track of your income and your expenses. Kahit, yeah, pwede daily basis or monthly basis, depende sa kung gaano ka-committed sa pagtatrack. Pero yun nga, if you already did your budget on pre-COVID, I want you guys to review it ngayon, no? I-review mo siya. Kasi your budget should not just be that budget forever. So, syempre magbabago-bago din siya depende sa needs mo, depende sa current situation. So, review your personal budget. Yan, identify mo ano yung mga nagbago, ano yung mga hindi mo naman na nagagastos. So, kunwari ako, 'di ba I am working as an accountant no sa Nissan Philippines sa BGC. Kaso ngayon nasa work from home ano kami, set up. So instead of yung sa budget ko before, meron akong inaalat doon for transportation kasi nagko-commute ako papasok sa office. So ngayon, gumawa ako ng panibagong budget plan, no? Gumawa ako ng panibagong budget plan na mas suitable sa ano yung situation ko ngayon since work from home ako. So, yun, binawasan ko yung transportation, inalat ko na lang siya sa iba pang pwede kong gastusin. Like, for example, um, sa utilities, kasi syempre, kung nasa bahay, magdamag, maghapon, naka-charge yung laptop, tapos yung ilaw, yung kuryente. Ganun. So, review your personal budget pre-COVID, tapos ano yung um, nagbago, and then make another budget plan na mas suitable sa situation mo ngayon. And yeah, of course, separate your needs from wants. And mas madaling magbago sa wants, mas controllable mo siya eh. Yun nga, as mentioned earlier, di ba, self-discipline. So you should prioritize your needs first before your wants. And of course, save. Yeah, as mentioned ulit, you have to be committed in having your savings first before spending. Kasi it will really help you in the future, no? Kasi yung expenses mo naman is for this specific period lang. But when you save, meron kang dudukutin in the future. At yun yung tinatawag nating emergency fund. So, isa ring, ang tawag dito, way on saving is building your emergency fund. So it's a personal budget set aside as a financial safety net for future mishaps or unexpected expenses. So pwede kasing yung savings mo na nilalagay mo or ina-allocate mo from your monthly income, you're setting it aside for emergency fund. No? Kasi merong iba't ibang ways of savings. Parang, kunwari, nagsisave ka kasi meron kang gustong bilhin, nagsisave ka kasi gusto mong mag-travel soon, so parang travel fund. Ano pa ba? Nagsisave ka for your capital para magtayo ng sarili mong business. And ito nga, yung emergency fund. Nagsisave ka for your emergency fund. So if ever na merong mangyari in the future, like ngayon, hindi naman din natin alam, di ba? Very uncertain, very unexpected. Meron kang pagkukunan ng gastos. This is siguro one of those important things na nakalimutan mostly ng mga tao, no? Kasi parang, okay, they're living in the moment. They're not thinking of having or building an emergency fund kasi hindi din naman nila alam. Hindi naman natin talaga alam na na mapupunta tayo sa ganitong sitwasyon, no? So it's better to be prepared than be magugulat ka na lang na tapos mahihirapan ka kasi hindi mo alam no kung saan ka kukuha ng panggastos mo, especially during times like this. Okay, so how would you prepare for your emergency funds? Paano ka magsisimula? Of course, alamin mo ano yung mga needs mo to survive and magkano yung kailangan mo. Sabi nila, prior to COVID, no, ang ang expected emergency fund ng isang tao is equivalent to at least 3 to 6 months nung magkano yung ginagastos niya. So kunwari, or yung income niya, pwede rin equivalent. So for example, yung monthly income nung kanina is 30,000, right? So yung emergency fund niya dapat is equivalent to at least 3 to 6 months. So times 3 or times 6. Times 6, mas okay yun kasi mas malaki yung emergency fund. So anong ano nito? Anong rationale nito? So parang kunwari si employee siya, no, si employee. So kunwari nag-resign or naalis sa trabaho. So meron siyang emergency fund na pagkukuhanan niya kasi tuloy-tuloy pa rin naman yung paggastos niya, di ba? So meron siyang kukuhanan, merong kapalit yung source of income niya while finding another job. So parang ganun yung rationale niya. But in this new normal, we advise na dapat yung emergency fund mo is sufficient to cover at least 9 to 12 months of your spending. Kasi iba na ngayon eh. Kung dati, mabilis lang maghanap ng work. Ngayon, sobrang hirap na, no? Kasi most of the companies, nag-alisan na sila ng empleyado and most are on freeze hiring kasi gawa nga ng hindi din naman ganun ka-boom yung economy natin ngayon. So, it's better na mas mataas yung emergency fund mo ngayon, sufficient at least to cover your 9 to 12 months of spending. No? Pero it's better to have more of this emergency fund. And it would really hurt you, no, to have or build your emergency fund kasi ikaw din naman yung makikinabang nito in the future. Okay, so di ba nag-iipon ka? Where would you put your emergency fund? So sabi, it should be placed in something na hindi affected ng market volatility. Kasi merong iba na nagsisave sila for emergency fund pero gusto nilang kumikita yung fund na yon. So nilalagay nila sa ini-invest nila kunyari sa stock market, ganyan. Which is hindi advisable kasi you're building nga an emergency fund para meron kang fixed amount in the future na pagkukuhanan in case of uncertainties. With no administration cost if possible and can be withdrawn at any time. Kaya nga siya sinabing emergency para available siya anytime. Normally, pag emergency funds, so meron kang separate savings account, no, para doon. So, sa mga wala pang emergency funds dyan, guys, you should have a separate bank account para doon lang, para hindi mo siya magastos agad. So parang meron kang separate bank account for your operational expenses, meron ka din separate, hindi naman not necessarily bank account, pero pwede rin kasi madami na ngayon, online banking, GCash, ano pa ba? Marami ng ways. Pero I suggest na i-separate mo siya para mas madali mo siyang i-track tsaka hindi mo din siya magastos kasi you're building an emergency fund in the future and not for your current spendings. And of course, it requires your commitment and discipline. So parang, okay, for this year, dapat for this year, mabuild ko ng emergency fund ko equal to 12 months of my spending. So kunwari yung kanina, 30,000 times 12, ilan yun? Dapat meron akong 360,000 na maipon for this year for my emergency funds. Dapat before 2021, mabuild ko ng emergency fund ko. So yun. So dapat meron kang commitment and discipline. So hindi naman siya ganun kadali din mag-build ng emergency fund because you really have to sacrifice din, no, in terms of your expenses. So doon pumapasok yung discipline. So kunwari if you have committed na before matapos yung year na to, dapat ma-build ko na yung emergency fund ko. So you have to make your budget based on that. So kung kanina meron kang expenses na meron kang amounts, ngayon, yung sa savings mo portion, if you are planning to build your emergency fund for this year, so ilalagay mo doon kung magkano yung dapat mong nilalagay sa savings, no? So kunwari 30,000, tapos you have to adjust your other expenses. Yun. So next is investing. What's this? It's the act of allocating resources, usually money, with the expectation of generating an income or profit. So yun nga, yung sinabi ko kanina, you are putting or setting aside a certain amount of money in a financial instrument to earn income or profit. So ano yung financial instruments na tinutukoy ko? Pwede kasing ikaw mag-invest sa stock market, kung aware kayo doon. Pwede rin sa mutual funds. Ito naman yung mga companies no na nagkukuha ng investments. Tapos invest nila yung pera mo. Then mag-share sila ng profit sa'yo kung kumita. Pero mag-share ka din ng loss kapag hindi kumita yung investment. Ano pa ba? Meron ding insurance plans na may investments. So it could also be one. Pwede ka din namang mag-invest in terms of assets, no? For example, real estate. So pwede kang bumili ng lupa ngayon kasi it appreciates in value, no? Unlike other assets na nag-depreciate yung value. So yung investing mo, dalawa siya, either short term or long term. Pero normally pag sinabing investments, it's more on long term. Long term yung dapat na mindset mo. Yes, in this new normal, aside from having your budget na, and then you already have your savings, of course, you should also do not forget to invest. So as mentioned, dalawa siya, meron kang short term and long term. So for short term benefits, if you are investing in short term financial instruments, no, yung mga money markets, ganyan, ang goal mo doon is ma-meet mo kung ano yung current needs and obligations mo. So yung short-term investments mo would give you flexibility in terms of meeting your current needs and obligations. So parang, okay, in-invest mo siya for 3 months, tapos kikita na siya after 3 months. So ipo-pull out mo na yung investments mo. Kasi on that specific period, meron kang kailangan bilhin, gustong bilhin, kailangan bayaran. So, yun yung benefit for short-term investments. Pag long-term naman, ito naman yung more of futuristic na no, yung nagiging mindset mo. So, kunwari, nag-i-invest ka for your children's education, for achieving your financial goals and milestones. So, kapag gusto mong, like ako, di ba, gusto mong bumili ng car, ng bahay, karoon ng business in the future. So, pwede akong mag-invest ngayon. Tapos mag-earn siya in the long run. Provide cash flow to keep up your lifestyle even after retirement. Yun nga, actually hindi siya guaranteed, no? Kasi yung market is very volatile. So, ano siya, fluctuating yung behavior ng market. So, may times na at loss, may times na sobrang laki naman ng income. Pero if you are thinking long term, no, if you invest now, I think 10 years, ganyan, 20 years, for sure naman merong return yun. Ayun, so if you are thinking about your retirement, but keeping your lifestyle ngayon or better lifestyle when you retire, yun, isa ding way yung pag-i-invest kasi meron kang parang ano na parang pension, ganun. So, meron ka na agad pera na pwedeng gamitin for your golden years. So, ayun. Ito lang din, I just want to share na meron kasing mga tao na they choose to put yung pera lang nila sa bangko. Okay, hindi naman sa pero yung interest kasi 'di ba sa bank, hindi siya gano'n kataas. And one thing na kalaban mo when you chose to put your money in the bank lang is inflation. So kunwari, meron kang pera ngayon sa bank na 100,000 pesos. Tapos merong kunwari 10% inflation rate. Ang laki. 10,000 inflation rate next year. So kunwari 2021, meron kang 100,000 pesos sa bank. In the year 2022, considering yung inflation rate, so ibig sabihin, yung value ng pera mo is hindi na siya 100,000 pesos. Yes, 100,000 pesos pa din yung makikita mo sa bank account mo. Pero yung mabibili mo is hindi na equivalent to 100,000 as compared before. So, yung value niya na lang is, magkano yun? 100,000 times 90% na lang. Kasi gawa nung 10% inflation rate. So, it is more advisable na instead of just setting aside, putting your money in the bank, you should know how to invest. Medyo ano din to na tricky kasi sa mga baguhan pa lang, you should ask for the assistance of experts. Well, kung kaya namang mag-research, like ako, hindi din naman ako nag-seek ng experts advice. Nanood lang ako sa YouTube, kanya nagbasa akong books on how to invest. So I started investing sa stock market. Pero yun nga, knowing na yung economy is not really good ngayon, well, ang mindset ko naman kasi is for long term. So okay lang mag-invest ngayon na hindi ganoon ka okay yung market if you're thinking of the long-term benefits. And make a crisis plan. Ano to? Identify other financial options during times of crisis. Pwedeng i-maximize mo yung non-cash assets mo. Kung meron kang mga GC, reward points, cashbacks, mga ganun. I-maximize mo siya, no? Para meron pa din ikaw matirang cash na pwede mo pang gamitin kapag may super urgent, no? Identify which big ticket purchases you are willing to forgo. So, part din actually to nung pagbabudget mo. So, kunwari, yung diniscuss ko kanina, meron kang budget pre-COVID, ano yung mga pwede mo nang i-let go? Kasi hindi naman na siya hindi mo na siya nagagastos during this pandemic times. And finding out more about government support measures. So, alamin mo ano yung mga in-offer ng government to support you during these times of crisis. And explore other income streams. So, kunwari, employed ka pa din naman, pero mas hindi na ganun, ang tawag doon, mas mataas na yung expenses mo gawa ng work from home, kunwari. Ayun, so you also have to explore some other income streams. You could sell online, kasi di ba uso na din naman yun. Ang dami ng ang dami ng nadi-discover ng mga tao. Nagbe-bake, ganyan, ng mga nagluluto, online, deliveries and everything. So, madaming income streams na pwede yung i-explore. Okay, so malapit na tayo sa end ng aking discussion. If you guys have questions, you could ask para masagot natin, or you could just type it in the comments and I would assume na i-raise siya ng ating facilitators. No? Ayan, so to conclude, personal financial management before doesn't seem to be much different from now, the new normal. Kasi kung paano ka mag-budget before, same ka pa din naman ng process na ginagawa ngayon. It's just that you are adjusting sa laman ng budget mo. So, eto siya before, ano siya ngayon. Gaya ng mga na-discuss ko. Pero in terms of how you manage your finances, I think mas naging ano ka na lang ngayon, mas naging disciplined, mas naging aware, kasi ayaw mo nang mabigla ulit, no, kapag meron ulit dumating na ganitong crisis sa buhay natin. Yun nga, people did not take precautions nor did financial planning prior to COVID. Kaya madami din yung nabigla when especially when when the government has had put us into stricter community quarantine ECQ noong 2020. Hindi nila alam saan sila kukuha ng panggastos. So, ayun, wala silang emergency fund and everything. So, ngayon pa lang, dapat you already are starting, no, to have your emergency fund, kasi we would really not know kung ano mangyayari in the future. But then, yun nga, as mentioned kanina, there will always be silver linings, no? So, with this pandemic, people are now aware sa importance ng financial management as well as how financial planning works. And you're very lucky, guys, kasi yun nga, for being here that um, na-sharean ko kayo ng how would you handle your personal finance in this times of pandemic. And ayun. So guys, if you have questions, no, kung meron pa kayong ibang kung may maisip kayong questions, you could keep in touch. So ayan, pwede nyo kayo add sa Facebook and sa LinkedIn account ko, Cesar Grospe Felipe's Facebook and Cesar G. Felipe CPA sa LinkedIn. You know, connect kayo and ayun, send messages. I would be very much willing to answer. Kasi yun din kasi yung isa kong advocacy, no, to make more people financial literate. Kasi ang hirap din kasing wala kang talagang background, no, in terms of financial management. Hindi din naman required, no? Hindi din naman necessary na graduate ka ng finance for you to understand this. It's more on basic lang din eh. Basic lang din naman na finance. So ayun. Thank you for listening. And Sir Josh, thank you for having me here. If you guys have questions, I could answer them naman. Ayun. Hello? Hello? Thank you guys. Thank you for listening. And if you guys have questions, you could ask. Sir Josh, may mga ano ba dyan? May mga
Yes.
questions.
Okay. Ayan. Maraming salamat po, Sir Cesar. Nisip ko tuloy kung nasaan ako, kung Filipino 1 ba ako o yung Filipino 2.
Ano ka doon, Sir
Pero
Josh?
well listen, naalala ko tuloy yung economics class natin.
True.
Oh, yes. Ayan. Yep. So anyways po, in behalf po of our SDS, Madam Cherry, maraming salamat po, Sir Cesar. And of course, sa pagpapaunlak po sa aming invitation. Meron pong message si Ma'am Cherry, Sir Cesar, kung nabasa mo sa ating private chat. Sabi niya dito, nice discussion, Sir Cesar. Yan.
Thank you, Miss Cherry, for having me here as well. Thank you po sa invite.
Okay. So sa ating pong live audience po ngayon, if you have some questions po about financial management po, especially yung pong diniscuss po ni Sir Cesar today, you may now po raise your questions para po masagot po ito ni Sir Cesar. Kung hindi naman po at pati po naman po tayo, mas private message po sa kanya. Pinakita niya lang po kanina sa inyo yung kanyang personal and of course Facebook account, tsaka yung kanyang professional Facebook account. Yeah, so if you have some questions po, please feel free to ask po our speaker. Sir Marfil?
And so, I think we need to wait siguro sir around 10 seconds bago nila marinig yung huling sinabi natin. Baka meron silang questions or words of appreciation.
Ayan. So medyo challenging kasi yung araw na ito for us, especially na maraming barangay po sa ating ngayon ng walang kuryente. But of course, we would like still to invite po, encourage po doon po sa ating mga DepEd personnel, learners, stakeholders po, both internal and external po, na recorded naman po itong ating program today. So kapag may ilaw na po tayo later this afternoon po around 5 p.m. most likely or 6 p.m., pwede niyo pong balikan itong recorded MMK 4.0 po natin. Yan. Sir Marfil?
So, Thank you very much again, Sir Cesar Felipe from Nissan Philippines. Uh, at this juncture, Sir Josh, I guess we'll proceed po sa second speaker po natin for this morning.
Yes, Sir Marfil. Okay, so ayan, so mag-aata daw po si Sir. Late na rin daw po siya sa kanyang meeting today. So maraming, again, Sir Cesar Felipe, maraming salamat po. Syempre, proud na proud po dyan ang kanyang school po ng elementary, Santiago North Central School. Okay, Sir Marfil.
Okay, so at this juncture po, we shall have our second speaker to be introduced to us by Sir Josh again.
Ayan, sige. So, ang susunod po nating speaker sa good friend of mine, siya po ang ating education program specialist po sa social mobilization and networking. Siya po ay una kong nakasama sa isang training noon sa Bohol bilang alternate DRRM coordinator. Very promising po at sobrang sipag po ng susunod po nating speaker. Actually, at first medyo hindi ko medyo reluctant siya kasi hindi niya alam kung paano siya harap sa camera nung sinabi ko na ito po ay mala-live stream po via YouTube. So, katulad ko rin po, meron din po siyang stage fright. So, please help me welcome po the Education Program Specialist po of STO Quirino, Sir Harris T. Ignacio. Sir Harris, good morning po.
Good morning, Sir
Good
John.
morning, sir. Ayan.
Pwede ko na bang i-share yung aking slides?
Yes, sir. Pwede na po.
Sure, sir. Sige po. Para lagay po natin sa screen.
Ayan, nasa office yata si sir today.
Yes, sir. Nasa office ako ngayon.
Okay, see you this afternoon po.
So, nakikita na?
Nawala po, sir.
I-open nyo muna, sir. I mean, yan. Okay.
So, nagpapakita na ba,
We-
sir?
Apo, sir. We will be on the
Meron.
background, sir. If in case magkaroon ng technical problem, papasok po kami agad. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. So, good morning to the great leaders of SDO Santiago, headed by the school's division superintendent, Dr. Cherry Ramos, and Assistant ASDS, Sir Jonathan Fronda, and to the proponent of this activity, Sir Josh, to all the participants to this webinar, MMK 4.0, best morning po sa ating lahat. So, ang naibigay po sa akin na topic is on partnership, and the specific title of my presentation is on school and community partnerships, so how to sustain it. So this will be the flow of my presentation. So una po, no, we will review first the role and the relationship of school and the community in bringing education to our children. Okay, and then we will discuss the concept of bayanihan and partnerships in DepEd. So how do we practice bayanihan and partnership in DepEd, for example? And then this is going to be the focus of my presentation. So I will be giving you elements for creating and sustaining good partnerships. So this is based on my experience as the alternate focal person of the SDO Quirino along partnerships and Brigada Eskwela program. And lastly, let me justify to you how Brigada Eskwela implementation can be a test of partnership engagements of schools. So I would like to start this presentation with these two well-known quotes. Okay, the first quote is from our former DepEd Secretary, Florencio Abad, and he said, "The problem of education is everybody's problem." So as building literacy is our collective responsibility, so too is improving of our schools, our collective responsibility. So we must build bridges between the school and the community. So another quote, it takes a village to educate a children or to educate our children. So if you notice, no, these two quotes support one another. No? So nais nilang ipahiwatig na hindi kakayanin mag-isa ng paaralan na ibigay ang kumpletong edukasyon sa ating mga kabataan. So ito ay isang kolektibong responsibilidad. No? So ibig sabihin malaki ang gampanin ng ating community sa ating mga kabataan. Next, let us review the role of the following sectors in the education of a child. So these three, no, kung nakikita ninyo sa ating screen, the parents, the teachers, and the members of the community, sila po yung tinatawag natin na education stakeholders, no? So ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng stakeholders, no? So based from the definition from Webster's, no, a stakeholder is a person such as an employee, customer, or any citizen who is involved with an organization, society, etc., and therefore has responsibilities toward it and an interest in its success. Okay? So in this case, no, the teachers and the personnel of the Department of Education are considered our internal stakeholders, while the parents, no, and the members of the community are referred to as external stakeholders. Okay? The parents are the first teachers in the home. No? I hope everybody agrees to that. Education begins at home, and parents are responsible for the development of values, attitudes, and habits that will be needed as their children associate with their classmates in the school. Okay? If the parents, no, act as the first teachers, the teachers, on the other hand, continue to enrich the students' experiences at home. No? The school also serve as a venue for acculturation. No? Pag sinabi nating acculturation, transfer of culture from one generation to another. No? So yung ating paaralan, yung ating school ay nagiging agent for acculturation. No? So dito, base sa mga naituturo sa mga paaralan natin, no, na itatransfer yung values ng old generation sa ating children para ma-sustain ano, yung tinatawag natin na norms and values of the society. Okay, another, no, in school, we develop and strengthen community values, nabanggit na yan, through acculturation. And we also develop potentials of a child to become a productive citizen of the community. So I think this is the very essence why a school exists in a certain community, no, to become productive citizens of the community. Okay, and our third sector, okay, which does not any sector which does not include the family and the school falls under the members of the community. Okay, so it includes the LGUs, national government agencies, national government organizations, religious organizations, private individuals, private businesses. Okay, so the members of the community are highly motivated to participate in school programs, activities, and projects that will likewise redound to the uplifting of the morale and quality of life in the community. So that if the school will produce doctors, lawyers, engineers, businessmen, and other professionals, it will surely uplift the quality of life in the community. So this is the very reason why members of the community supports education of the children, because the future of these children will have an impact later to the community as a whole. And as you see in the model, these three should be partners in bringing up the child. Tulong-tulong dapat ang mga ito, no? Because they have the same goal in life, to produce productive citizens of this country. So, when the community, schools, and families work together, they can provide the best possible resources and expertise to enhance the education of all children. So therefore, it is a collective responsibility of many groups to educate our children. Okay, and this refers to the concepts of bayanihan and partnerships. Okay, so let us have a walkthrough on the concepts of bayanihan and partnerships. So every linguistic groups has a concept of bayanihan, no? Because they have their local term for that. No? For example, uh, in Itawis, they term it Tanawalinhuet. Okay. So in Ibanag, they call it Union. In Itbayat, they call it Machiso. So in Ilocano, we call it Amoyo or Tagnawa. And in Ibatan, no, somewhere in Batanes, they term it Paisidu Sidungan Mayuhu. So generally, no, if we have a local term for that, it means we practice the concept of bayanihan in the context of our own culture. So yun po, no. Generally, bayanihan would mean voluntary, reciprocal, and communal work. The term bayanihan is derived from the root word bayani, first appeared in 745 in a manuscript entitled Vocabulario de la Lengua Tagala by P. Juan de Noceda and P. Pedro de Sanlucar, which means obra común or group work. Magpabayani is another related word. So, bayanihan, no, came from three words. Ito ay mula sa tatlong salita, salitang bayan, nation, bayani, heroism, anihan, harvest, pinag-isa, naging bayanihan, and it means working together so that the community will reap and share in a bountiful harvest. So it also means working together to achieve a common noble purpose and equitably sharing the fruits of labor. So that if we put the concept of bayanihan and DepEd in the context of education, we mean working together of all sectors of the society in giving quality, accessible, and relevant basic education to our children with the goal of coming up with Filipinos who passionately love their country and whose values and competencies enable them to realize their full potentials and contribute meaningfully, no, to in building the nation. So ito po yung ating yung vision ng ating departamento. On the other hand, okay, partnership is not different with the concept of bayanihan. No? They mean the same thing, or they are supposed to mean the same thing. Because in partnership, okay, the parties work for a common goal, and that is also bayanihan. So that for the sake of this presentation, no, bayanihan and partnerships will mean the same thing. So we will not treat the two words as different terms. Okay, in this slide, the following are sample project of the Schools Division Office of Quirino in partnership with the Rotary Club Asiana Manila. So this is a non-government organization so that aims to improve lives in communities through thousands of service projects. And one of their advocacy is to support education. Okay, so SDO Quirino became recipients of the projects which are, basahin lang po natin, online training for our modern day teachers. So, last December 2020, itong project na ito. Another is the Teacher in the Cloud project, video-based webinar using Google Classroom and other apps. So these are learning and development programs, LND, training for our teachers that aim to capacitate them on how to teach during the pandemic. We also have Project New Normal, a webinar series in partnership with the PLGU, okay, Commission on Higher Education, and Quirino State University. So we also have Project Think Tech. So again, this is in partnership with our PLGU, Rotary Club of Asiana, Think Tech, and the Tao Foundation. For the sake of this presentation, no, um, we will only focus on how to sustain partnership because I know and I believe that all schools already have their partners in education. Okay, you have been in the first stage, and our first stage is developing, building, starting a partnership. And I think my role for today is to give you some elements of or tips on how to sustain, continue, or maintain partnerships. And there we go. No, so in these slides, we will be, I will be showing you some elements for creating and sustaining partnerships. So number one, no, there should be a clear picture of where we want to go. So this requirement, no, is first and foremost should be present in any kind of a relationship. So the two parties, the Department of Education and education stakeholders should have a common vision and goal in terms of the education of the child. And they should have a common understanding and common strategies on how to achieve this goal. So nabanggit natin kanina na ang goal ni DepEd ay to produce productive citizens of this country. Okay. So dapat si education stakeholder natin ay aware siya doon, naiintindihan niya yon, sinusuportahan niya yung goal na iyon ng Department of Education. Because if that will happen, I am pretty sure our stakeholders will give their best effort to support DepEd programs, projects, and activities. So yun, no? So pinakauna sa lahat, there should be a common goal and that goal should be shared by them. Okay. Another, no, the relationship should be symbiotic. Okay, when we say symbiotic, it means a mutual beneficial relationship. Hindi pwede na ang DepEd lamang ang nakikinabang while the stakeholder is being harmed, no? And it cannot be the other way around. So education stakeholders will support DepEd programs or DepEd PAPs. And DepEd should also support the program of these stakeholders. No? For example, no, tayo po ay nakikipag-partner sa Bureau of Fire Protection, Municipal DRRM, to look into the safety of our schools, no? To look into the electrical wirings of our schools, for example. Okay. In the same manner, we also support the programs of the National Civil Defense of the DRRM and the BFP, no? Ano ba yung mga programs nila? For example, ang Fire Prevention Month, and the earthquake drills. Yan. So, another example here is a Commission on Population, no? The organization conducts symposium in schools and along gender and development, sex education, and the like, and how do we support the program of POPCOM. So yun, no? Kapag nagpapakandak sila ng pop quiz, ang DepEd naman usually ang kanilang customers, correct? Okay, ang Department of Agriculture, no, for example, at ang Department of Environment and Natural Resources, no, they support our programs like Gulayan sa Paharalan by giving seedlings. Okay, so basically our accomplishments in Gulayan sa Paralan is also their accomplishments in their department. Okay, so how do we support their program? So we also participate in tree planting, backyard gardening, school gardening, and the conduct of eco-friendly schools. Okay. In the same way, no, kailangan we should also look into the profile and activities of our partners, no. So hindi po pwede na kung sino yung gustong makipag-partner sa atin ay always na nag-yes tayo. No, we should also look into their services and activities. No, like for example, if you remember, ang DepEd po ay dinidiscourage no, na makipag-partner with tobacco companies and alcohol or beverage companies. Kasi parang ang pangit tignan, no, na while we are discouraging our children to do smoking and drinking alcohol, we have this active partner like Marlboro or Philip Morris, for instance, no, di ba? So ganon. We should look into their profile and also let us be selective and discriminating. So nevertheless, the point here is they support our programs in DepEd. In return, we should also support theirs. Okay. Another element of for creating good partnership, no, assets and needs assessment of a framework for results. Okay, ano ibig sabihin nito, guys, no? We always go back, no, to the assets and this assessment of the school when we start community partnerships. So ang assets and this assessment of the school should be reflected in the school improvement plan. Okay. So dito nakikita natin kung ano yung mga available resources and yes, resources ng schools at kung ano yung lacking, no? At kung ano yung lacking at kung ano ang wala sa school, doon papasok si community partnership. So basically, our partnership engagement should begin from what we do not have in the school. And from there, we look into partners or who can fill in the needed resources and services that cannot be provided by the school and OOE. Okay, example dito, no? Kailangan based sa need ng school. Magpapatayo ka ba ng water system when in fact ay maraming tubig ang school? Parang ganon, no? So, do you think the project will prosper if it's not, if the project is not a need of the school? Okay, more or less, hindi po magtatagal yung project na iyon. Okay, another example, no, industry partners. If you are offering senior high school, no, and you are offering cookery and pastry, so sino dapat yung mga partners natin dito in the community? So they are the industries who offer or who do mga tinapay, mga bake shops, ganon. Okay. When you are in need of banking and finance, syempre makikipartner ka sa mga available na banks or cooperatives in the community. So that is it. Okay. Number 4 na element ng effective partnership, involve stakeholders in planning, implementing, and evaluating the project, program, or activity supported by them. Okay. So from the very beginning, we should already involve the stakeholders. If it will make them feel they are really part of the project. Okay? It will make them feel they are important. And when we make them feel that way, they will give their full support to the project. Because our accomplishments can be their accomplishments too. So normally, ang nangyayari kasi sa DepEd, no, we plan on our own. And after making the plan and proposal, we just present what we have prepared for their approval. And that should not be the case. No? Dapat we sit with them from the planning, from the very beginning. We implement the project with them, and we evaluate the effectiveness of the project with them. It will make them feel na kasama natin sila from the very beginning and until the end, and assure you, your relationship with them becomes stronger. Okay. So next, no, clear expectations and shared accountability for the school and partners. So, a clear expectation and shared accountability are usually reflected in a memorandum of agreement, no, or we we call it MOA, and memorandum of understanding or MOU. No? So ano ba ang MOA or MOU? Okay. We define memorandum of agreement or understanding as a document that describes the broad outlines of an agreement that two or more parties have reached. So, MOAs communicate the mutually accepted expectations of all the parties involved in a negotiation. While not legally binding, the MOA signals that a binding contract is imminent. No? So, ito yung magsisilbi na parang Biblia, no, ng dalawang party. At ang kanilang galaw ay dapat kung ano lamang ang sinasaad doon sa Memorandum of Agreement. Okay? So, I present to you an example of a MOA. Supposedly, when we enter into any partnership engagement, we should come up with MOA or MOU to define the roles and responsibilities and also the accountabilities of the contracting parties. So, nagiging means of verification rin natin ito during the Brigada Eskwela evaluation. Okay? Okay, in this memorandum of agreement, it clearly defines the roles of the parties. So for the LGU, for example, it will provide financial assistance for the training of teachers. For the SDO, to use the fund for the training of teachers and attach the necessary liquidation requirements. Okay, sure. Here's another example of a MOA between PLGU and SDO Quirino, where the provincial government will provide funding for the reproduction of learning modules. So this is in support to the implementation of the BELCT. So the project was completed in 2020. No, so yun. So napaka-importante po ng MOA, no, in any partnership engagement. Okay, another element, a designated person located at the school to lead the coordination of school community partnerships. So there should be a designated person in the school to lead the coordination of school community partnerships. No? So alam ko nag-i-exist naman yan sa mga schools natin. No? So meron tayong mga focal persons on Brigada Eskwela, focal persons on school-based feeding program, focal person on youth formation program, at sila ay designated, no, for exclusive for these programs. At kung may mga queries, questions, and other concerns related to the program, we go to the designated person because he is responsible for coordinating the program to the teachers, the parents, the children, to the stakeholders of the community. Okay, so yun. So this is an example, no, of a memo, yeah, memorandum issued last May entitled Brigada Eskwela Management Structure and Division of Land Balik Eskwela Committee for school year 2020-21. So attached are the people who will work on the activity, no? So yan. So sila yung mga designated persons for that particular program or activity. Okay, another element, creating a working committee to be assigned in the project or program. No? So this is different, no, from our number 6, which is a focal person or yes or a technical working group for the program. Ito naman ay working committee. No, so we are involving all here. No? including all the teachers of the school. So mas maganda kasi yon na when we have this project engagement, kailangan lahat ng mga teachers ay involved in the project so that there is a shared responsibility, there's a shared accountability, no? Kasi kung hindi alam ni kasi kung hindi involved si teacher, for example, sa project na iyon, hindi siya makikialam doon sa project. At kapag halimbawa, uh, uh, nag-fail yung project, siyempre si teacher, no, sasabihin niya na, ay, hindi ko alam yan kasi hindi ako involved sa project na yan. No? So it would be better if we create a working committee involving all the teachers in the school who will work who will work for the implementation of the project. So I present here, no, example of a working committee with project kwento-kwenta ng bawat bata, no. So kailangan itong working committee ay should be reflected in a memorandum of, iba kasi ang impact kapag naka-memo, ano, Sir Josh. So it encourages everyone to work kasi naka-memo, no? At madaling i-identify kung kanino ang trabaho, sino ang nagtatrabaho at kung sino hindi gumagalaw. Okay? So I will just read to you the committee. Overall Planning and Management Committee, the leader of the school ang nakalagay dyan. In our case, the SDS. Okay. Number 2, Implementation Committee. Number 3, Monitoring, Supervision, and Evaluation Committee. Number 4, Committee on Ways and Means. Number 5, Committee on Accommodation. Number 6, Documentation Committee. Number 7, Advocacy Campaign and Events Coordination. Health and Welfare Committee at meron tayong tinatawag na Secretariat. No? Ang school natin dapat merong committee kasi yung ating partner, yung ating sponsor will do have the same committee working on those activities or on those assignments also. So kailangan meron tayong counterpart na committee. At yan, para mas madali na rin yung communication between the two. No? Between the two. And next element for creating and sustaining effective partnership, regular meetings with the stakeholders. Okay. Regular. So how regular? Okay, as often as possible. No? Pwedeng gawing monthly, quarterly, or depende yun, no, sa agreement ng school at ng kanyang mga partners. Okay? So sa school, ang counterpart nito is PTA meeting and is usually done at the end of every grading period. Okay? So during PTA meetings, we present the progress of the children, we present the accomplishments of the school, and we present the needs of the school that may be provided by or that may be sponsored by our stakeholders. No, in this example, no, I placed the memorandum on virtual education stakeholders. No, at in 2020, no, may pandemic na tayo, so the convergence is done virtually, no. So we presented to our stakeholders the current and relevant issues in basic education, no. Strengthen and sustain partnerships to address the gaps of education resources and to intensify their commitment and support to the DepEd. Okay, next. There should be a regular evaluation of effectiveness, no, through a variety of measures. Okay. So how regular shall we evaluate? Okay? It should be as frequent as possible. It could be monthly or quarterly. No? Okay. So kailan nag-evaluate? Sa umpisa, sa gitna, or sa huli ng implementation ng program. So it can be, no? The more often na nag-evaluate tayo ng effectiveness ng program, uh, the more likely na magiging prosperous or magiging successful yung partnership program natin kasi at the very beginning, we can already arrest whatever problems we may encounter in the implementation process of the program. Okay, and next is communication plan to share the progress and challenges. So this slide is related with number 8, which is to conduct regular meeting with our stakeholders. However, in this particular element, we would like to stress the importance of the platform, no? The mode of communication we use to reach them. Before the pandemic, we do meetings face to face. However, in our present situation, no, the biggest impact of the health crisis is to discourage face-to-face interaction, and we have to respond, no, to the challenges of the new normal. And kailangan we still need to connect with them during the pandemic. Actually, mas kailangan natin sila ngayon. Now, if you do not connect with them and you do not update them about what is happening in your school, you don't present to them the accomplishments of the school. You don't present to them the the need of the school to be funded by your partners. They will assume you do not need them. No? They will say you can stand without their help. So, pwede na gawin natin din ang connection through online platforms. So in the context of partnerships, no, so we have here the Kwentuhan at Pahayagan sa SDO Quirino, no, as a platform of communicating with our education stakeholders. So the project has already completed and aired 4 episodes since it was launched in August 2020, and using online platforms, nasabi ko nga kanina, no, we communicate with our stakeholders, both internal and external. So, let me read to you, no, I just would like to share the impact of this platform, online platform, in communicating with our stakeholders. So, as the health crisis creates fear and hesitation among parents to enroll their children for school year 2021, and as it poses challenge in connecting with education stakeholders, the project Kwentuhan at Pahayagan played an important role to address these issues. So using online platforms, this office sustains to connect with our stakeholders. The financial support of the local government units for the implementation of the BLCP is overwhelming, as it already reaches more than 10 billion and still rising. No? And also through the project, we were able to win and convince the parents to continue the education of their children. So our enrollment for the current school year even surpassed the enrollment of the previous year. No? Tinitignan ko kanina, no, itong MMK4, magulang mag-aaral at kapartner sa bagong normal sa edukasyon. Katulad din ito ng Kwentuhan at Pahayagan, no. It's an online platform to reach our learners, to reach our parents, to reach our stakeholders, para ipaalam sa kanila na, oh, ito ang nangyayari sa Department of Education, no. Kami ay maayos naman, at may mga ibang bagay na kulang pa dito sa amin, and we need you, no, we need you to support our services. Okay, so nagagamit, no, ang online platforms in communicating with our stakeholders. And last but not the least, no, we should also recognize or give due recognition to the efforts of the stakeholders, no, to our DepEd programs, projects, and activities. So stakeholders appreciation program or stakeholders awards and recognition, something like that. No? So the awards and recognition aims to strengthen the partnership and linkages between DepEd, no, and our partners. And the one way to strengthen it is to give recognition to their efforts and the contributions. So you can do this also in your school, no? So if you cannot make it in the school level, then you can do it in the classroom level. No? So every teacher can recognize his or her partner. Okay? However, kapag mas malaki kasi yung audience, no? Mas malaki yung impact ng recognition on the part of the stakeholder, on the part of the stakeholder kapag the recognition happens in a larger audience. So kailan, no? So when is the best time to recognize their efforts? Ah? So in the context of the schools, I recommend it should be at the end of the school year, no, to appreciate their contributions for that particular year, no. Halimbawa, no, for today, for this school year, kung magtatapos ng July ang ating school year, yeah, i-recognize natin sila uh, during our commencement exercises, graduation rites, diba? Recognition rites. Okay. We recognize yung kanilang contributions for school year 2020-2021. Okay. So in our division, we do that. No, we have this project fusion. Okay, ano bang ibig sabihin ng fusion? Forming unified stakeholders involvement towards output-driven networking for K-12 success. So, ito po ay memorandum last year, November 16, 2020 at nandito po yung aming mga awardees. No? So, ito po ay division level. No? So, this photo was taken last December 2020 during the Fusion Awards and Recognition. Ito po ay face-to-face. No? Kung napapansin ninyo, ang ating mga nagbigay ng award, no, to our Vice Governor, Julius Cesar Baquilar, is the SDS, Ma'am Flor, Ma'am Cheryl Ramos, Ma'am Cheryl is Ma'am Cheryl Ramiro pala, no, was also there, and the two chiefs of the division. Okay, so what is a good example of test of partnership? Ano ang manifestation na maganda ang partnership ng isang school? Okay. So, naiisip nyo rin yung naiisip ko. So, it is Brigada Eskwela, which aims to prepare the schools for the opening of classes. Okay, so kung nakikita nyo dito sa ating slides, no, the school, the parents, and the community works together to prepare the schools for the opening of classes. Okay, and the result is to transform schools into paradise of learning. So ito na yung mga schools after the Brigada Eskwela. Okay? So ayan, no? Now, if the school will look like this, can we convince then our students to stay and learn in the school? Kung ganito kaganda ang ating paaralan, no? Do you think we can convince them to stay in the school for up to 8 hours, no? So the answer is a big yes. So what can we learn then from the Brigada Eskwela implementation? So there is a positive relationship between physical environment and the enrollment or dropout rate of a school. So if a school has an excellent physical and learning environment, convenient for learning, so it encourages learners to come and stay in this school to learn. Therefore, dropout rate is reduced. So sana ay nagkakaintindihan tayo dito. I mean, naintindihan niyo ako sa bagay na ito. No? The dropout rate is reduced because children uh, will want to stay in the school for the whole afternoon because of the good or excellent environment of the school. Another learning. The more that the physical and learning environment of the school is improved, we can be certain that the school has more partners and supporters. So thus we can conclude it has a good partnership engagement with stakeholders. So Brigada Eskwela outstanding implementers are good-looking schools. So it must be a good school, academically and extracurricular. No? So ina-associate na natin na kapag maganda yung physical environment ng school, no, we also assume no na maganda rin ang performance ng school pagdating sa academics. So in this lecture, we learned that schools, parents, and community should be partners and should work together to deliver quality basic education to our children because they are the hope and future of this country. We do bayanihan to give our children the best education they can ever have. So we also discuss some tips on how to sustain partnership, engagements, and a good uh, test of effective partnership is the implementation of Brigada Eskwela. So I think I hope you learned something from this particular topic and thank you for inviting me to present this one. So before I end, I would like to end this quote from Phil Jackson. The strength of the team is each individual member and the strength of each member is the team. Thank you. Back to you, Sir Josh.
Ayun.
Hello, Sir Josh.
Ay,
Thank
hello
you
Sir
very
Jo.
much.
Ay, Sir Josh pala. Hello Sir Aris. Yan, maraming salamat po Sir Aris. Now, if you for sharing with us of course your experiences po as the as one of the of course tawag dito sabi natin productive personal po of SDO Quirino. Yan, salamat din po at one way or another po is marami po kaming natutunan sa mga practices po ng SDO Quirino. And syempre, we are looking forward po na after po this our MMK 4.0, we could still invite you as our resource speaker po para sa isang pan naman na blended. Ayan, blended training po dito sa SDO Santiago City. Now, sa ating po mga participants, if you have any questions po regarding po sa topic po ni Sir Aris, pwede niyo po siyang i-type in case po naman na Sir Aris will not be able to answer it immediately po. Definitely po ipo-forward po natin ito sa kay Sir Aris later para po masagot nila. But anyway, Sir Aris, in behalf po of SDO SDOs, in behalf po of our SDS, Madam Cherry S. Ramos, and ASDS Sir Jonathan Fronda, we would like to say thank you po sa time and of course sa pag-share po ninyo ng inyong expertise po sa amin. Ayan. So meron po tayong message coming from Madam Jonaline Martin of Santiago West Central School. Ayan po. Thank you po, Sir Harris. Ayan, of course. So, kung wala po tayong mga questions, maraming salamat po, Sir Harris. I'll see you this afternoon po. Punta po ako dyan sa Quirino this afternoon po for your certificate and for your tour. May pa-request po ba? Sir Marfil?
And again, thank you very much, Sir Harris, for sharing your experiences and expertise as well. Again, on behalf of our Schools Division Superintendent Dr. Cherry S. Ramos, and Sir ASDS Sir Jonathan Fronda, and the rest of the workforce of SDO Santiago City and partners, as well as our teachers, school heads, and learners. Thank you very much po, sir. Sir Josh, what's next po? I think we're ready for the third and final speaker po natin for this activity.
Yes po, Sir Morphil. Of course, bago ko po tawagin ang ating next speaker, gusto po natin magpasalamat of course sa SDO Quirino. Okay, syempre po sa pagpayag po na maimbitahan po natin ang dalawa po sa pinakamagagaling po na mga personnel po ng SDO Quirino. Now for our next topic po, I would like to introduce our next speaker. Currently po, she is the Division DRM Coordinator po of SDO Quirino. Just like Sir Harris po, very productive po ito and very efficient po siya sa kanyang mga programs and activities, especially po on the implementation of DRM programs. Currently po, medyo, na-overwhelm po ako at natatouch po ako because despite po of the current situation, very much willing pa rin po ang ating next speaker po to, of course, be with us at para po makapagbigay po ng support on how to make our mental health still stable despite po of this COVID-19 pandemic. So ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome our last but definitely not the least speaker for today's MMK 4.0, Madam Christine May Santiago Ruiz. Hello, Madam. Good afternoon. Good morning.
Good morning.
Po.
Hi.
Sa ating lahat. I will share my screen, Sir Josh.
Yes po, ma'am.
Ayan. So, sana na-memorize ko na to, no? Kasi ilang beses na nating ginawa to. So, ayan. Feeling ko successful siya. Hindi ba?
Yeah, okay na po.
Yay! Ayan. Psychological well-being.
Okay, ma'am, we'll be on the background po in case na may technical difficulties. Papakita po kami ulit.
Okay, thank
Go
you.
ahead,
Thank
Ma'am
you, Sir
Christine.
Josh. Thank you, Sir Marfil. So, bago natin simulan yung topic, pwede pang mag-stretch muna tayo kasi sabi ni StreamYard, mga 2 hours na daw tayong nakaupo and been listening to the topic. So, siguro we need to stretch a bit. So, kailangan siguro nating tumayo sa ating mga upuan or maybe kung hindi tayo makatayo sa upuan, we stretch our hands, ganyan, para gumanda yung yung daloy ng dugo natin, hindi mapunta sa tiyan. Since 11 o'clock na, baka magstay yung daloy ng dugo sa tiyan at ibulong niya sa atin, gutom na ako. So, para magtuloy-tuloy siya sa brain natin, no? And we listen to the topics. So, last one topic na lang po. So, ayan. Can we give 1 minute to do our stretching exercises? Para naman medyo mabuhay tayo. Mabuhay yung mga blood natin. Dumaloy siya papunta sa ating mga different parts of the body. Ayan. So, ayan. So, konting galaw lang ng mga ulo, kamay, paa. Ayan po. So, ayan. So, thank you. Thank you po. So, I hope we are feeling better na medyo nakatayo tayo sa mga upuan natin. First, I would like to greet the committed and able leaders of SDO Santiago City, SDS Ma'am Cherry Ramos, and of course, ASDS Jonathan Fronda, and all the great men and women of SDO Santiago City. Isang mapagpalang umaga po sa ating lahat. Okay, the present situation, COVID-19 pandemic. So medyo, pag naririnig natin yung COVID-19 pandemic, yung what comes to our mind is parang fear of the unknown, maybe anger. So medyo negative yung dating ni COVID-19 pandemic, no? And because COVID-19 had a profound impact not only sa health and economic situation. So sa health, medyo pag nagka-COVID tayo, of course, deteriorated ang ating health. Ang economic, of course, yung mga work natin, nawawalan tayo ng sweldo. Yung iba, they will not be able to work. Ayan. But also, hindi lang siya sa work and economic may effect. The psychosocial well-being, of course, ng teachers, ng learners, ng personnel, lahat tayo affected. That's why it is important to understand and absorb and deal with the change that COVID-19 is bringing by giving attention to our mental well-being. So welcome to psychological well-being in a changed environment. So in a changed environment kasi, may changed environment tayo due to COVID-19. Ayan. So objectives, una, we will be able to know what is mental health and what is stress. Di ba universal sign yan? Pag may nakikita tayong taong nakaganyan, nakapangalong baba, tama ba? Nakapangalong baba. Iniisip natin, may problema siguro siya. Ay, stressed siya, di ba? Pag nakita natin yung kaibigan natin nakaganyan sa isang sulok, okay, she's stressed. Maybe she's stressed, siguro marami siyang iniisip. So yan yung universal symbol ng stress din, nakaganyan. So we will know what stress is. Second, ano ba yung pwede nating gawin? What are the way on how we deal with stress? And the third objectives, what is self-care? How is self-care important in dealing with stress? How is self-care important to our mental well-being? Ayan, okay. That's our third objective. First, a quick survey. So, ayan. Which phase comes closest to how you feel this morning? So, may I know, pwede bang pakilagay natin sa ating mga live chat? Is it number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, medyo bare-faced lang, 5, 6, or 7, malungkot na malungkot? May I know kung ano yung mga nararamdaman natin this morning or at this point in time? Ngayon, nasan tayo? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7? Ayan. So maybe whatever we are feeling right now, that is valid. That is valid. Maybe 1, kasi you're happy because you are working from home, tapos you are with your family, or maybe merong nakakaramdam ng 4, hindi niya alam kung ano yung mararamdaman niya due to the pressing work assignments na meron siya. Or maybe 7, malungkot na malungkot siya kasi nag-break sila ng boyfriend or girlfriend niya. So, whatever it is, either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, what you are feeling today is normal and valid due to the situation you are in now. Ayan. So, hindi kailangan, 7 ako, dapat 1. No. So, depende yan sa situation you are in right now. So, hindi mo kailangan piliting maging 1 agad, maging 2 agad. Hindi ibig sabihin you're not 1 is you're not normal. Hindi ibig sabihin your 7 is you're indifferent. So, whatever you're feeling, that's okay because that's normal to the present situation you are in. Okay. So, data natin for COVID-19 pandemic. As of June 16, 2021, the number of cases in the city of Santiago is 4,341. Lahat-lahat na yan since the start of the pandemic. So, diyan natin makikita yung vulnerability of the education sector. Then, kasi from that 4,341, may mga learners tayo dyan. May mga teachers tayo dyan. At may non-teaching personnel tayo dyan. And that is something kasi medyo malaki. And I think SDO Santiago City now has 20 active cases na lang. Wow! 20 na lang siya. At least we can see na improving siya. It's not something na may 20 pa din, pero we look at the brighter side, at least 20 active cases na lang as of yesterday. Pero sabi ni Secretary Briones, there should be learning continuity. Amidst the pandemic, learning should continue, education must continue because education cannot wait. Learners cannot wait. That's why during this COVID-19 pandemic, we wanted to build resilience in education. Resilience in education, that's why may blended learning tayo na kahit may pandemic, may blended learning. Kung hindi tayo pwede ng face-to-face, of course, anong gagawin natin? So may radio-based instruction, may modules, we have these virtual meetings, we have these virtual meetings with our students, with our stakeholders, because learning must continue. Okay? So let's talk about mental health. So since yung blended learning is something new to us, medyo affected ang ating mga daily routines kasi this is something na bago sa atin eh. So medyo triggered ang ating mental health kasi nga this is something na iba sa usual nating ginagawa. So, si teacher mag-prepare ng module, si estudyante hindi na nakakapag face-to-face, hindi na nakakapaglaro sa school, hindi na niya nakikita si crush, ganyan. So, that's something na it triggers fear, it triggers anger. So, let's talk about mental health. Sabi ni World Health Organization, mental health is state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, and can work productively and fruitfully. It refers to the cognitive, behavioral, and emotional being. So nakaka-cope daw tayo sa mga stress na nararanasan natin. So ano ba ang stress? Stress is a normal response to a given situation. It includes eustress, or the good stress, or distress, or the bad stress. Stress responses vary on the person. So, dalawa pala yung klase ng stress, no? Kasi pag sinasabi nating stress, medyo negative agad yung naiisip natin. Meron palang good stress. So, ano ba yung good stress na sinasabi natin? Or the eustress? Ito yung something positive. Bakit siya naging positive? Kasi it is motivating. It enhances functioning. Sinasabi natin good ang stress if it enhances functioning and if it motivates us. Example, challenging work assignment, di ba? If you have challenging work assignment or challenging reports sa office, somewhat nai-stress tayo kasi we have deadlines. But of course, it challenges us, it motivates us to work better so that we can meet the deadline. Kailan naman siya nagiging bad stress? Bad stress, negative, of course, kasi it's a bad stress if it impairs functioning. How does stress impair functioning? An example, the death of a loved one. Hindi ka na makamove on. Nag-break kayo ng girlfriend mo or ng boyfriend mo. Nagiging bad stress siya if it impairs your functioning. How does it impair your functioning? Nagkukulong ka na lang sa loob ng kwarto, ayaw mong mag-module, hindi mo na nare-receive yung proper nutrition kasi ayaw mo nang kumain, napupuyat ka na, so that is bad stress. Okay? So what are the psychosocial stressors and COVID-19? It is common and normal for individuals to feel stressed. Common and normal lang daw siya. Kasi diba, problems come and go. And if we have problem, we feel stressed and worried in response to any disease outbreak naman. So pag may COVID-19, it is normal that we feel stressed. Lalo na yung COVID-19, hindi natin alam kung what to expect if we have the COVID-19. Is it symptomatic or asymptomatic pag tayo yung nagkaroon nun? Ma-hospital ba ako? Hindi ba ako makakahinga? So somewhat it brings stress. So what are the specific stressors? First, rumors and misinformation. So social media, medyo natotoxic na tayo sa social media. Kasi sometimes yung mga pinanggagalingan ng mga information sa social media, minsan kasi share lang tayo ng share, yung nababasa natin hindi na nanggaling sa mga right agencies na talagang dapat panggalingan ng information. So dapat there should be correct information from proper agencies. Example, yung mga COVID-19 data natin on positive cases, so dapat manggaling siya sa DOH, hindi manggagaling kay kapitbahay na, uy, among ba at karuba tayo, positive ka no suna, so iwasan tayo. So medyo nakaka-stress siya, di ba? Kasi, are you sure? na may COVID-19 siya or na-stress ka na, kaya iniiwasan mo na siya, ganyan. Of course, closure of schools and children's activity spaces, nawala yung activity spaces ng ating mga learners. Di ba first day of school, tuwang-tuwa yung mga bata na they are excited to go on their class kasi makikita nila si best friend, makikita nila sa friend, excited sila ipakita yung bagong bag, bagong sapatos. And then, they are excited to go every day to school kasi ganito yung baon niya, they will get to interact. Kasi bago uwian, maglalaro sila ng mga kaibigan niya, ng mga classmate niya. And biglang nawala due to COVID-19. So somewhat, medyo it brings stress sa mga bata kasi this is not the usual activity na ginagawa niya. And of course, travel restrictions. Ayan, si Sir Josh, feeling ko na stress na siya kasi hindi na siya nakakapunta sa beach. Kasi mahilig mag-beach si Sir Josh. So, due to travel restrictions, yun kasi yung pang-unwind niya sa sarili niya eh. So, travel restrictions, hindi na tayo nakakapunta sa beach. And summer is over. Tag-ulan na and yet hindi pa natin nakita ang pagudpod, ang dinadyawan. So, somewhat it brings stress or na-upset tayo, di ba? Kasi hindi tayo nakapamasyal and enjoy time with family. Ayan. And of course, the possibility of our actual physical isolation and quarantine. Baka magka-COVID ako, ipunta ako sa isolation area, isolation school. Nakakatakot, ayokong pumunta doon kasi mas gusto ko sa bahay. O, di ba? May fear. Okay, and of course, avoidance of health facilities. Pag nagkasakit ako, paano ako pupunta sa hospital? Eh, maraming cases doon. So, ayokong pumunta doon kasi baka mahawa ako doon. Diba? It brings stress. Deterioration of trust in government agencies and social networks. Ano pa ang ginagawa ng gobyerno? Bakit hindi pa nawawala ang COVID-19? Bakit hindi pa ako nababakunahan? It brought so much worry to us, diba? Na si COVID-19 andyan lang and yet hindi pa natin nare-receive yung vaccine natin. So, deterioration of trust in government agencies. We start to question yung mga government agencies natin kasi we feel na hindi natin nami-meet yung mga needs natin. And of course, the common symptoms of other health problems can lead to fear of infection. Okay? So, what is stress during COVID-19? So ano yung binibigay ng COVID-19 sa atin? Fear or worry about your own health. Hindi na nga ng ating own health ng family natin, di ba? Ay, yung anak natin, pag may anak tayo, minsan hindi na nga natin iniisip yung sarili natin. You fear for the health of your kids. You fear for the health of your loved ones. Changes in sleep or eating patterns, napupuyat ka na, yung kapitbahay ko daw may COVID-19, paano ba to? Hindi na ako makatulog, nakausap ko siya kanina, nahawa kaya ako, close contact ako, hindi ka na makakain. Okay? Difficulty of sleeping or concentrating kasi nag-overthink ka. Worsening chronic health problems and increased use of alcohol, tobacco, or other drugs. Parang napapanood natin sa TV, di ba? Yung pag-stress sila, napapansin niyo sa mga Filipino movies or even Hollywood movies ata. Pag-stress sila, hit-hit sila ng hit-hit ng sigarilyo kasi it's a way na they cope up with their stress na feeling nila, nasosolve nila na hindi pala kasi nga this tobacco and alcohol is not good for our health. So, di ba? Nakikita natin yan, hit-hit sila ng hit-hit kasi stress sila. Yan. Pag may problema yung isang character sa TV, di ba? Tobacco, sigarilyo siya ng sigarilyo. So, that could bring health condition. It could deteriorate health condition. Ano yung impact naman niya sa katawan natin, sa mood natin, sa behavior natin if we have stress? Headache. Diba? Yun nga yung universal sign, diba? Headache. So, hinahawakan natin yung ulo natin kasi ang bigat-bigat na ng ulo natin. Masyado na siyang mabigat, kakaisip natin. Muscle tension, chest pain, masakit sa dibdib. Pag stress tayo, masakit sa dibdib. Tiredness, upset stomach. Sa mood naman natin, anxiety, restlessness, lack of motivation. Diba? Ayaw mo nang pumasok, you don't want to go to work na. Feeling overwhelmed, irritability or anger, sadness, depression. And of course, the behavior changes in appetite, angry outburst yan. So marami ka nang nakakaaway kasi hindi na nila na-handle yung attitude mo. Drug or alcohol misuse, masyado ka nang umiinom kasi you think that's how you release your stress. Inom ka lang, feeling mo masosolve na pagkainom mo, pero pagkagising mo, stressed ka pa rin pala. Tobacco misuse, social withdrawal, exercising less often kasi nga na-depress ka na, pumunta ka na sa isang sulok, ayaw mo nang gumalaw. And now we know we're stressed. Ano na? So stressed ako, oo, ito nga yung naramdaman ko. Nung nagka-COVID-19, tama ka, ito yung naramdaman ko, nangyari nga sa akin yan. Ano na yung gagawin natin? Now what? We're stressed and now what? Being in the middle of an infectious disease is stressful for many people. The good news, we can do things to help manage our stress. So manageable siya. Manageable si stress kasi si stress ay normal na nararanasan natin but we have to manage our stress. Each of us can take actions to help not only manage the stress that we are experiencing but also to help lessen our overall stress. So maganda siya no kasi we can manage pala yung stress natin. The feeling of fear, the feeling of anger, the feeling of less motivated. So we can manage it pala. But how? Through self-care. Through self-care. Sabi ni Beauchamp and Childress, self-care is providing adequate attention to one's own physical and psychological wellness. What are the benefits? Increases worker effectiveness, increased job satisfaction, and changes the culture of work. What are the dimensions? So it includes psychological, emotional, physical, social, and spiritual. So ang daming dimension ni self-care, no? Total package talaga si self-care. You have to meet these dimensions. Social distancing is not social isolation. Kaya nga minsan ginagamit natin is physical distancing more than the social distancing kasi may baka ang pagkaintindi natin pag social distancing is we isolate ourselves na from other people. So while physical and social distancing can inevitably lead to less physical contact with friends, family, and cherished relationships, it does not mean that you have to socially isolate yourself. Baka naman mawalan ka na ng kaibigan kasi sabi you have to distance yourself. No. We only have to physically distance para hindi tayo magkahawaan ng COVID-19 due to the present situation, due to the pandemic. So how? How do we not isolate ourselves socially? So ways to stay connected. First, use apps or programs such as FaceTime or Zoom. Kaya nga may mga Zoom meetings tayo. May mga FaceTimes tayo with our loved ones, with our friends. Di ba? Nagkwekwentuhan tayo, nagpa-FaceTime na lang tayo. Anong kinakain mo dyan? Anong ginagawa mo ngayon? So may social connections pa din tayo sa mga friends, sa loved ones. Ayan. So ang dami na Zoom. Ano pa ba? Madami. Google Meet, Facebook, Viber. So madami. We have a lot of means na hindi tayo nagkakaroon ng physical distancing, physical meet-up. And of course, we eat meals together either with the people you are staying at home with or through online means. Ayan. So pwedeng mag-date pala through online. Diba? So you eat meals together. So lunch na. So let's have our lunch. Let's have our lunch. Sabay-sabay tayong mag-lunch. So nasa US siya, nandito ako. Ay, hindi pala lunch doon ngayon, no? So sabay-sabay kayong kakain. So, eating meals together kasi yun yung time na we interact with our family members, no? So, siguro within the family, we should eat meals together. We should make sure na nagkakamustahan tayo during mealtime. Ayan. Take walks together. Take walks together. Kahit sa likod lang ng bahay, di ba? Kahit sa likod lang ng bahay, take a walk. Paglabas ng bahay, ayan. And tell others how grateful or thankful you are for them. Diba? Find creative ways to do this, ways in which you can feel loved and appreciated. Sa Sunday, Father's Day. So, we can tell our fathers how thankful, how we love them. Kung nasa abroad man yung parents natin, yung tatay natin, we can tell them still na we love them through posting sa social media, through calling them. And being thankful for something, kahit konting bagay lang yung nagawa nila para sa atin, we should be thankful. We should always express gratitude to others. That's the simplest way to say thank you. And of course, psychological and emotional. So emotion regulation, give attention to things that you are in control. Si COVID-19, you cannot control COVID-19. Pero ano yung control mo? Ano yung kaya mong i-control? At present, you can control being with families. How can you be with family? You communicate with them. You can control how to be productive amidst the pandemic. You can still go to work by wearing PPE, di ba? We can still be productive. Yung iba nawalan ng work pero mag-o-online sila, online selling. Ayan. Give attention to things that you are in control. And of course, effective behavioral choices. Set clear boundaries for your time and energy. Dapat clear yung boundaries na yan. You recognize your strength. We always say, look at the brighter side. We focus on the brighter side. As much as possible, we say positive things. Kindness. Yun nga yung sabi nila, di ba? We can never go wrong with kindness. And of course, stress management, how deep breathing exercises, mindfulness exercise. Ano pa ba yung iba? Watching TV. So, ano ba yung effective sa atin? Kung hindi effective ang deep breathing, find other ways. Mag-basketball tayo sa likod ng bahay. Mag-jumping rope. So, hanapin lang natin what is effective to us. Ako, mahilig ako manood ng TV pag stress ako. Or sometimes I eat pag stress ako. Kaya medyo, nag-gain ako ng weight. Pero sometimes it's effective. Pero we just be mindful na wag naman maging excessive eating. And that is mindfulness, progressive muscle relaxation, guided imagery, journaling. Maraming mga mindfulness exercises sa YouTube, no? If we are not aware much of this, maraming mindfulness exercise doon. With mindfulness exercises, we focus on the here and now. So being mindful of the present situation. So there are techniques on how to do the mindfulness exercises. And awareness of what creates stress. We should be aware. We should know. Kasi we cannot solve the stress kung hindi natin alam kung what brings the stress to us, di ba? So nai-stress ako kasi ang daming work. Tapos ang ginawa mo, kumain ka. You're not aware na yung what brings stress is the work. Ano yung gagawin mo sa work? Alangan naman tanggalin mo yung work. What will you do? You manage your time. Diba? Maraming work. What will you do? Being aware na ganito yung work. You manage your time. What else? You stop for a while. Hindi kailangan minsanan mong gawin yan. You try to pause. You pause. You breathe. You breathe for a while and then go on again. Pag feeling mo medyo pagod ka na, pause for a while. Remember, for a while ha. Lalo na pag maraming reports. Baka naman mag-pause tayo for half day tapos deadline na bukas. Ayan. Just allow some time to breathe. Ayan. And then problem-solving skills. Physical activity, so yun na yun. What can you do to help you move? Ayan, stretching, as simple as stretching. Be realistic and consistent. Baka naman sinabi ni friend, ayan, mag-yoga ka friend. Kasi maganda siyang physical activity, but then you're not aware of yoga. You don't know what to do yoga. Pinilit mo yung sarili mo, I have to do yoga. Okay, sinabi nung kapitbahay mo, pilates. Ang ganda mag-pilates o kaya mag-gymnastics. Ayan. So baka pilitin mo, syempre, kung ano yung kaya ng katawan natin. 'Di ba? Hindi kailangan maging rigorous yung physical activity. Yung kaya ng katawan natin. So that's what we do. Adequate sleep. Remember ha? Adequate sleep. Not excessive sleep. Okay? And healthy nutrition. Again, healthy nutrition. Not excessive eating. Do not eat and eat. And of course, prevention of illness. How do we prevent illness? Of course, yung lifestyle nga natin, healthy nutrition, adequate sleep. How do we prevent illness from COVID-19? Mag-PPE tayo. Intimacy. Diba? Intimacy is a good feeling to be loved. And of course, the general bodily health. Let's not forget the spiritual aspect of our well-being. How? Prayer. There are times na may hindi tayo nakapag-visit ng church kasi due to the restrictions, but we can pray at home. We can pray at home. We can talk to God at home. We go to a place na tahimik and we talk to God. We meditate. We reflect. Ano na ba yung nangyari? What has been? What will be? And of course, we wanted to go sa farm. We wanted to go to nature kasi napaka-serene niya. Napaka-serene niya, napakatahimik niya, and then you have time to reflect, to pray, to meditate with nature. Leisure. During this uncertain time, it is important to make sure that you are doing things that recharge or energize you. During the pandemic, di ba? Ang daming natutong magluto. Ang daming plantito. May natutong mag-drive, nag-driving lesson. So, what interests you? Ano ba yung interesting for you? During the pandemic, yung anak ko nagkaroon ng pet. Ayan, yung 3 anak ko nagkaroon sila ng kanya-kanyang pet na inaalagaan. During the pandemic, hindi pa rin ako natutong magluto. Ayan, so we find what interests us. So is it reading, knitting? Ayan, so at least may pastime lang tayo. And yung leisure naman does not necessarily mean we have to go to the beach, we have to go to Disneyland, we have to go to this place. Ayan. So, meron lang bagay kang gagawin that will recharge and energize you. Ayan, marami tayong na-discover na hobbies na na-enjoy mo pala. Yung dati hindi ka naman nagba-basketball, pero during the pandemic, masaya palang mag-basketball. During nung hindi pandemic, hindi ka naman nagba-bike. Pero during the pandemic, masaya din pala mag-bike, kaya pala ng binti ko. So, ayun. So, we just have to find that leisure that would interest us. And of course, we set boundaries. Setting boundaries with your time and with your space. You are not obligated to give your time limitlessly to those around you. Diba? Hindi lang para sa iba yung time natin. We give time for ourselves. Pag time of work, time of work. Pag time for family, time for family. Diba? We set boundaries. yung tipong Saturday, Sunday, may mga hindi may iwasang work, pero you should make sure that yung time mo ng Saturday and Sunday for your family andyan pa din. Para you still have that family time, di ba? Read your inner cues and know that it is okay to set boundaries with others in order to protect your emotional well-being. Surround yourself with positivity and affirmations. Yung positive, yung lagi nating iisipin. With your space, when we work from home, it can be difficult to differentiate between work and home. Tama yun, no? Pag nasa bahay tayo, hindi naman natin pwedeng sabihin sa maliit nating anak, wait lang, kasi naka-meeting ako o naka-Zoom meeting ako, wait lang anak. Mama, ihina ako. No, anak. I'm working from home, dyan ka lang. O, diba? Find a specific workplace separate from your leisure spaces and work there. So mindfulness yun, no? Setting boundaries with your space, mindfulness. So pag naka-work from home ka, you have to talk to the family members. Naka-work from home ako ngayon. I have to do something. Pwede ba? I will have your time later on. Please give me this time to concentrate on this. So mindfulness. Mindfulness here and now. Work from home, here and now, dapat dito ako. Para hindi natin na mix up yung work and home. Parang ngayon, nandito ako sa, yung mga anak ko andun sa asawa ko. Ako naman nandito sa workspace, nandito ako sa space na hindi ako may istorbo muna at this moment. So mindfulness. Pero later on, if I have time, kasi naka-work from home ako But later on, if I have time, during lunchtime, sasamahan ko silang mag-lunch. So differentiation between work and home. Once you are done with work, do something that clearly mark the end of the day. Close the door to your workspace. Change your clothes. Parang ngayon, naka-work from home ako pero nag-uniform ako ng yung damit namin sa office. Kasi, mindfulness, I am working. Pero later, this afternoon, papambahay na ako. Okay, nasa bahay na nga ako. I can play with my kids. And go for a walk. Ayan. So, we have to set our boundaries with our spaces. But self-care takes too much time. No. Hindi naman kailangan pag sinabing self-care, pag leisure, maghapon, I have to do self-care. Maghapon dapat to. You just have to prioritize self-care and make it part of your daily routine. Diba? Prioritize. Paano ba yung self-care? Sometimes yung self-care natin, a simple hug from our husband is self-care. A simple, yung naligo tayo, nag-ayos tayo, that's self-care. Yung we requested our husband na pahag naman ako, that's self-care. Square breathing takes about 1 minute to do and can be done in between your tasks and activities. Diba? Breathing exercises. Yun nga yung sabi ko, take time to pause, take time to breathe. Pag maraming trabaho, at least kahit may 30 seconds ka lang, at least may 1 minute ka lang, tayo ka sandali sa kinauupuan mo. Okay, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And then, stretch natin ng konting kamay natin, yung paa natin, and then we're okay, then we're good. Progressive muscle relaxation takes about 2 minutes and can also be done in between other tasks and activities. So, yun nga, pause. Either activity, we breathe, and then we return to the usual work that we do. So self-care doesn't necessarily mean I have to enjoy the day, I have to enjoy the rest of the day until night, until dawn. So you just have to satisfy yourself. How do we help children deal with stressful events? We listen. Give children opportunities to talk about what they are feeling. Encourage them to share concerns and ask questions. Minsan kasi ang mga nanay, salita na lang ng salita, no? May mga ganong tendencies din ako. hindi na makapagsalita yung anak, ganito anak ha, dapat ganito, 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 ganito. Dapat ganito, 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 ganito. And then, hindi mo din namamalayan due to your busy schedule, nagsalita ka lang ng nagsalita. Feeling mo, nakinig na lang yung anak mo, susundin na lang yung gagawin mo. So, we have to listen din sa kanila. Give them opportunity to talk. Kumusta ka? Mama, kasi ganito, ganito, ganito. Yung mga estudyante natin, no, kinukumusta din natin sila. Di ba ang sarap makumusta? Kumusta ka? Feeling natin we are very important pag kinukumusta tayo. And then we say, okay naman kasi ganito. And ang sarap ng feeling pag nakikinig sila sa atin, no? Pag kinumusta tayo and then we tell our stories, ang sarap sa feeling na, okay, nakinig siya sa akin. Kahit wala siyang sabihin, kahit nakinig lang, yung makita mo yung affirmation from the facial expression or kahit nag-nod lang, ang sarap sa pakiramdam. And of course, comfort. Use simple tools to comfort and calm children. Ano ba? Tell stories, singing with them, and playing games. Praise them, very good. Minsan tap sa shoulder. Minsan pag may nagawang maganda, we clap. Pag nakita niya tayo nagka-clap, wow, I'm doing good. Yun yung pakiramdam ng bata. Showing courage, compassion, and helpfulness. And of course, we reassure children that you are prepared to keep them safe, provide them with correct information through valid sources. So, hindi yan false reassurances, ha? Kaya nga dapat valid sources. So, COVID-19 parenting quality time. You can't go to work, schools are closed, worried about money. It is normal to feel stressed and overwhelmed. There are times na walang masakyan, you can't go to work kasi walang mga van papunta sa workplace. Yung mga bata naman gustong-gustong pumunta sa schools pero schools are closed. May iba na wala ng trabaho and they are worried about money kasi paano sila sa pang-araw-araw. School shutdown is also a chance to strengthen relationships with our children and adolescents. Quality time is free and fun. It makes children feel loved and secure and shows them that they are important. That is looking at the positive side. Diba? So may school shutdown, what now? So you just have to enjoy the moment with your children. So yung module, yun na yung bonding time ninyo ng anak mo. So seeing the positive side. Set aside time to spend with each child. So minsan, even though busy tayo sa work, we try our best na sa hapon, pag nagpatulong yung anak natin sa module, we give time. Ask your child what they would like to do. Iiwasan natin yung, ganito yung gawin mo, ganito yung gawin mo, ganito yung gawin mo. We motivate them. Tanungin naman natin sila, ano ba yung gusto mong gawin? Pero pag sinabi niya yung gusto niyang gawin at hindi, upon your assessment, hindi siya magandang gawin. Siguro ganito. Diba? So I guess with your young child, read a book, go for a walk, play dance and freeze. So hanapin natin yung mga leisure activities that we can enjoy with our children. So hanapin lang natin yan. We can sing songs, depende sa age ng mga learners natin or ng children, ng mga anak natin. Okay, we have pag may mga phone app tayo to do yung mga relaxation exercises or yung how do we manage stress, may mga phone app. So meditation, so available siya sa Apple and Android. We have the what so-called Headspace, so mindfulness din siya. So for free din siya, Apple and Android. Stride, so habit tracker. My Fitness Pal, Grateful. So, since napaka-techy na din naman ng ating mga learners, ng ating mga leaders, ng ating mga teachers ngayon. So, pag hindi mo alam kung ano yung pwede mong gawin to manage your stress, maraming mga phone apps. So, these are examples of the phone apps that you can enjoy. Ayan. So, stress is normal. So, synthesis, to wrap it up, stress is normal. Response to the life changes caused by this pandemic. Normal response. Pero hindi ibig sabihin yung response natin sa situation, ha? Normal response to the situation, especially that it is pandemic. It's okay to say you are not okay. Yes, of course. 'Di ba? We are not always okay. There are times that we are not okay because there will be problems along the way. And iba-iba yung nararamdaman natin. We have to accept that she may be feeling angry today, pero ako hindi. Pero dahil magkaiba tayo ng sitwasyon. Okay yung term na physical distancing, but we should never be socially isolated. Ayan. So, physical distancing para hindi mahawa, but never socially isolated. So, we communicate with others, with workmates, with colleagues, with friends, with family. Learn to listen with your eyes. Eyes, give your full attention. Yung ears, truly hearing their concerns, sabi ko nga. Kahit makinig lang tayo. Kahit wala tayong masabi, makinig lang tayo, that is something. And of course, with caring and respect. Kindness. Uulitin ko, we can never go wrong with kindness. Your reactions to the current situation are valid and normal, of course. And you can use different means to calm down and control your emotions. So, nandiyan yung mga breathing exercises, meditation. You can watch movies. You can take a walk. And of course, there are persons and organizations who you can approach for support in addressing their needs. We have hope lines, helplines. Sa mga schools natin, we have guidance counselors who could really could give their time to address yung mga needs natin. If we just wanted someone to listen, may mga trained PFA providers tayo in every division and they are willing to listen. And we have to realize that we have multiple sources of strength. Okay? During this time of pandemic, hindi ka nag-iisa. Your source of strength may be your husband, your wife, your kids, your parents, your family, your friends, your loved ones. Andyan lang sila. Andyan lang sila for your sources of strength. And before I end this, I wanted to share this video. I think this video is worth sharing. So nakita ko lang siya 3 days ago actually. Nakita ko siya sa... Bakit tayo mag-play? Nakita ko siya sa... Ipopost ko muna siya. This video is entitled It's Okay by Night Birdie. Nakita ko siya sa Facebook 3 days ago. Si Night Birdie, just a little background ha, ay America's Got Talent. Di ko alam kung winner siya pero golden buzzer siya. Sumali siya. She is a cancer survivor. So may cancer of lymph nodes. Ay, hindi pa siya survivor pala. Survivor, yeah. Meron siyang cancer of the lymph nodes, sa ribs, sa lungs, sa liver. Ayan. Those 4. And sabi niya, 2% is not, tinaningan ng yung buhay niya ng 6 months last 2019. Sabi ng doktor, 6 months. And you have 2% survival rate. Pero sabi ni Night Birdie, of course, screen name na niya yan. Sabi ni Night Birdie, 2% is not 0%. Panghahawakan ko yung 2% na yon. And that is 2019 and 2021 na ngayon. So yung It's Okay, sinulat niya to. This is an original song written by her. So based from her personal experiences. So it is a song of hope. Ang ganda niya and I think it is worth sharing kasi ang ganda ng lyrics niya. So I wanted to share kasi ayan.
I moved to California in summertime. I changed mine again, I changed my mind. I thought that all my problems they would stay behind. I was a steady and it just wasn't a matter of time, yeah. All day, by now I can't. Said I knew myself, but I guess I lied. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, you're lost, and it's alright. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, you're lost, and it's alright. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. I wrote 100 pages, but I burned them all. Yeah, I burned them all. I blow the yellow lights and don't look back at all. I don't look back at all. Ding, I can't. Said I knew what I wanted, but I guess I lied. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, and it's alright. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, and it's alright. Oh, it's alright to be lost sometimes.
Ayan. It's all right to be lost sometimes. Sabi nga niya, it's okay if you're a little lost. We're all a little lost. It's okay to be lost sometimes. But be sure to take your power back. Diba? Sometimes we are lost, but be sure to take your power back. And how do we take our powers back? That is self-care. That is self-awareness. And that is self-love. Kasi pag may self-care tayo, pag may self-love tayo, we can give care to others and we can give love to others. Thank you very much, SDO Santiago City. Sir Josh, back to you.
Ayan. Maraming salamat po, Madam Tin. Ayan, syempre yung ating mga katinig po dito sa SDO Santiago City ay once again po ay na-refresh ulit sila. So kung ano po yung mga dapat nilang gawin para lang po ma-stabilize po natin yung ating mental health because of this COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, thank you very much for pointing out the importance po of this what we call self-care, Madam Tin. Syempre lahat tayo stress, di ba? Sabi mo nga kanina, yung mga dating bagay na ginagawa natin, ngayon hindi na natin nagagawa. Example, yung travel, yung beach natin, tama. And dahil dyan, syempre, kailangan nating humanap ng paraan and of course, on how to, i-regain yung balance ulit sa sarili natin na nawala because of this what we call pandemic. Now, of course, Sir Morphy, nandyan po kayo. Ayan, sige. Ayan, Sir
Yes,
Marfil.
sir.
Sir Marfil, hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon na.
Hello, sir.
Morning pa, may 2 minutes pa.
Oo nga. Good morning pa. Okay. So, sir, I'm Ma'am Christine on behalf of SDO Santiago City, our school's division superintendent, Ma'am Cherry Ramos, our ASDS, Dr. Jonathan A. Fronda, and the rest of the workforce of SDO Santiago City, mula po sa mga teachers, sa ating pong mga stakeholders and learners, sa lahat po ng DU personnel, we would like to extend our warmest and sincerest thanks po for giving us your expertise po and sharing your experiences, especially sa topic po na diniscuss ninyo, ma'am. Truly, this will be very helpful para po sa ating mga learners at ating mga stakeholders at lahat po ng mga nanood ngayong umagang ito para po sa mental health po ng bawat isa. Sir Josh?
And of course, sa atin pong mga naka-online pa rin po at sumusubaybay po sa atin, recorded po itong MMK 4.0 po natin. So aware po tayo, very much aware na 15 barangays po of Caloocan ay wala pong ilaw. So expected po na marami po sa ating mga DepEd personnel, learners, parents, and external stakeholders ay hindi po nakapanood at nag-rely po talaga sila sa data, but unfortunately ay hindi po kinaya ng kanilang data. So we would like to, of course, encourage them na balikan po recorded MMK 4.0 po natin because definitely po marami po tayong mga insights, knowledge po na makukuha po dito, starting of course from our first speaker na nag-talk po about personal financial management. Sa ating second speaker po na si Sir Harris na nag-talk po on how to sustain partnerships, and of course to our last but definitely not the least speaker, our DRRM coordinator po ng SDO Quirino, Madam Tin, on mental health. Sure po ako na this program, after watching po, you will be able to find ways po on how to, of course, balance again our mental state. Considering na hindi pa po tayo sigurado kung ang COVID-19 pandemic ay mag-e-end na po ngayong 2021. But as per report po ng ating WHO and DOH, this COVID-19 pandemic might still, sabi po nila, starting po last year, 3 to 5 years po bago po tayo makabalik po sa ating dating nakagawian. So I would suggest po na share po natin ang ating recorded video program po na ito. Ayan, so may nakikita po kayong bisita. Ayan, para po sa ganon ay makatulong po tayo sa atin pong mga kasama, hindi lamang po sa academe, but of course to our stakeholders po na sumusuporta po sa atin sa Department of Education. So again, Ma'am Tin, maraming salamat po. Sa kabila po ng sitwasyon na meron po tayo, ay talaga po namang hindi po tayo nagpapigil at nandito po kayo at sinamahan po ninyo kami para po sa ating, of course, half day po na MMK 4.0.
Thank you din po, Sir Josh. And after this MMK, we can take our power back by having our lunch. That is self-care.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oo. And of course, syempre, alam ko na yung gusto mo. So, punta ko mamaya sa Quirino Province po para po ibigay po ang ating, of course, certificate po of recognition to our two speakers from SDO Quirino, Sir Harris Ignacio and Madam Christine, plus the token. And of course, thank you also to Cesar Felipe, my former student, for of course gracing the occasion po. Okay, Sir Marfil?
Ayan. So maraming salamat Sir Josh, kay Ma'am Christine, kay Sir Harris, and of course kay Sir Cesar Felipe na nagbigay ng kanilang valuable time para po sa atin sa umagang ito. At tayo nga po ay nasa dulo na ng ating broadcast sa ngalan po ng pamunuan ng Schools Division of Santiago City na pinamumunuan ni Ma'am Cherry Salarzones Ramos, our Schools Division Superintendent, our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Jonathan A. Fronda. Ako po ang inyong Division Information Officer, Marfilay Dulay. Nagpapasalamat po sa inyong presensya at pakikilahok sa ating pong MMK Magulang Mag-aaral Ka-Partner version 4.0. At dito po sa Tinig ng Bayanihan, ang tinig nyo po ay iparinig. Muli po, maraming salamat at see you soon po sa mga susunod pa nating mga episode dito lamang sa Tinig ng Bayanihan. Muli po, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat at pagpalain po tayo ng may kapal.